Well, I'm selling my phone for now because my computer decided to do updates last night, so it's still working on the updates.
And we're live! Da-da-da-da-da.
Hello, Wasteland.
Hey.
Podcast music. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Welcome, citizens, to the... Which episode? 19th episode of the Breakroom podcast.
I know. Holy cow.
Moments before we started, Needle was being salty as fuck about a thing.
Yeah, I'm always salty. I'm like Queen Salt.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the specific thing you were being salty about?
Okay, so this particular time, I'm salty about my fucking internet provider, okay? So, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I dropped out for like 2 seconds. And the guy, he's like, hello, I need to speak to this person. And I'm like, that's me. And he's like, hello, how are you today? I'm at work. Oh, that's weird. So today I want to talk to you about your internet. And when you're on the internet, since it just recently got updated to 50 megabits a second, what are you normally doing on the internet? And I'm like, I'm at work. Oh, okay, so you mostly use it for work? No, I'm at work.
Oh, fuck. So they're phoning you at work.
I'm not at work. But usually saying you're at work gets them to hang up.
Am I the only one hearing Needle breaking up?
No, I couldn't hear any of that last sentence. They're turning off their internet out of protest.
Yeah. Your internet connection's becoming autistic.
He can make the joke.
Is that better?
I'm allowed to make the joke.
Is that better?
Slightly?
Is that better?
It's actually worse. It's like we're listening to you at like 2 frames a second if audio is video.
Yeah.
If audio was video. But
It's better. I like that.
Yeah, that was a good impression, minus the voice.
You gotta grow some titties.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's boobs that makes the voice.
That's true. Caitlyn Jenner proved that.
Oh, that's a whole other can of worms. We're not gonna go there.
I'm sorry. She should have placed that a little bit higher on the the order of operations, but that's just me. She's a nice lady. Okay, Needle's solving.
Caitlyn Jenner is a nice lady? No.
Okay, there you go.
Fuck Caitlyn Jenner.
Okay, so what did your cable? Where did the cable touch you? Where did the internet touch you?
Where did the internet touch you? So, they called me, and usually when you tell them you're at work, they'll hang up and they'll be like, "Oh, sorry to waste your time. I'll call you back later." Some bullshit.
Yeah, solid protocol.
And the guy goes, "That's good to hear." And I'm just like, "Dude, I'm at work." And he goes, "Oh, do you have a few minutes to talk?" "Dude, I'm at work." And he goes, "I understand that, but I need to talk to you about your internet." I was like, "I'm happy with my
God.
I was like, "I'm happy with my internet. I don't want to upgrade my internet. I don't want to add on any cable or anything. Go away, please." And he goes, "Would it be all right if I called you back later and talked to you about your options?" No.
Oh my gosh.
And he goes, "But I really feel like you'd benefit from these options." Like, sir, all I do on the internet is look up porn. And he goes, "What?"
Beautiful.
Did you describe the porn to him?
No, I didn't have time because he hung up.
It's all fall out of Equestria.
Oh, damn it. Yeah, see...
But I was about to start describing something just really weird.
Those tentacles.
Just unless you find the internet that provides high-speed tentacle porn.
Which you can find on the super secret EAST Corp channel and you've got to search real hard to find that one.
Yeah, that would be it.
You can find all of Needle's tentacle porn. Yes.
Yeah, we made that joke at Stable Tech a long time ago in the fantasy world we lived in, where we actually got up to like episode 20. We were then going to have a special like paywall for the episode 22.5 or whatever it was, and that would be like, you know, a pay-per-view essentially.
So, funny enough, the script for that did actually see the light of day, and I did get to read the episode script for that. I really must go into my project file. Let me see if I've actually got any.
Yeah, we really should go through those a little bit in the documentary, because some of those exist somewhere, right? They wrote like 40 of the damn things.
Well, yeah, I was part of the team. I wrote a lot of those scripts myself. Oh, Jesus, I can hear myself coming through someone's speakers.
Yeah.
That's because I switched from my phone to my laptop.
Initiated.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it's like, I think I wrote 4, 5, 7, 11, 4, 5, 7, 9, and 11 for season 1. So that's 9, 11. That's 5 episodes of season 1. I wrote 1, 2, 4, and 8 for season 2, and then I only wrote like 2 episodes from season 3, and that's where we stopped. When that like took us up to the first appearance of Red Eye and Zenith. That was about as far as we got with the scripting. I mean, I think I must have written at least 10 episodes, like a huge chunk of what we had written for the series. So I've got the scripts somewhere. I just can't fucking...
Is this in the first run or the second? Because I know the first run they stripped so much out of it that it was, you know, it was problematic.
In the first... Yeah, and to be fair, I was one of the guys who was just... I ripped so much shit out. Partly because I found some of it to be kind of pointless, and partly because I was a bit of an asshole back then.
Oh, here we go.
This was 2013, James Bond.
Gosh.
I didn't really know how to write back then. But the fucking... But that was like the first pass. The second pass didn't affect season 1, though, which was like the first... That was from the beginning all the way through to them killing the dragon. And everything up till there stayed the same as it had been on the first pass, because we were under the impression that we wouldn't have time to rewrite the first season, because, you know, production would be moving so fast.
I know. Yeah, that was hilarious. I remember early on, I mean, I don't know, maybe because I was still an outsider then on the writing team anyway, it was like, you've got like 3 episodes. That's all we need right now. And that was when we were trying to push for the Wasteland Survival Guide way back then. So it's funny. We'll cover it all eventually in the great.
When you tried to push for the Wasteland Survival Guide, and then you got me.
Yeah, it's better
this way. I just found the script I wrote for the original Wasteland Survival Guide project.
Really? I did write one too. I'm trying to remember, but I remember writing something for it. I think it was about guns.
I was just paste this
Throwback Thursday.
I was just add this into my Google Doc file, because it's like 3 pages on stables.
Heck yeah.
You need to write. You need to fucking catch up to Skybolt.
I must just edit it, because according to this, I wrote it on May 11th, 2014.
Oh my gosh.
It's Babby. It's Babby, Vermont.
So I mean, that's Vermont from like, yeah, that's back in the day of Vermont who couldn't write. What else do I have? Okay, let's go. Stable Tech. I've got folders here for the writing team. Original Terminal Secrets, and oh fuck, Friendship Never Changes.
What?
Oh fuck, Friendship Never Changes.
What the heck is that?
How much is it? So I think we briefly discussed this in a podcast. Was that we were so confident about how about Fallout Equestria that some of the writers had started to work with had started to work on a sequel.
Oh, that's what that was? I thought they were naming it after the new whatever Griffin Republic thingy.
No. It ended up being called Friendship Never Changes.
Friendship Never Happens, more like it.
Oh god, and overall storyline in one paragraph. Okay, let's do this. Let's read this.
Do it.
Okay. I haven't read this in a long time. I've forgotten what the story was about, so let's see if I like what I read. An amnesiac alicorn. Okay, it's a good start. So we've got 2 Mary Sue traits already.
Fantastic.
Alicorn and amnesia. Attempts to recover her memories in the wake of the rebirth of Equestria. However, as she travels through the wasteland, she discovers a mounting threat from her own dark past. Okay, cool, dark past. Mary Sue trait number 3. And gathers a new group of heroes to prevent Equestria from falling prey to this new threat. The alicorn, Dawn Treader.
I remember that name. I do remember that name.
Yeah,
it's off of Narnia.
I actually think I was responsible for that name. I think.
Why did you name your alicorn after the ship in Narnia?
Because it's a cool name for an alicorn, and that was 2014.
You couldn't even rip off your own South African famous fantasy writer. You ripped off his friend.
Right, you had to rip off the British.
Okay, you guys ripped off the British for a while as well, so
That's because we are a product of the British.
So are we.
Like.
England gets around. Okay. England is like the Zeus in colonial history, where it just keeps fucking everything.
England's just the America of Europe.
Oh, they probably hate to hear you say that.
Right. Okay, so Dawn Treader embarks on a personal journey to reclaim her own memories as Equestria is being rebuilt.
She sounds like fucking Ray from episode 7.
Oh my god.
Terrible fucking laugh. It's the funniest part of that whole conversation.
Oh god.
Wait. So does she have all the powers where she can do the Jedi and fly the ship and become the princess of the Fallout Equestria?
And bypass the fuck did Ray bypass him?
Everything.
I do remember one of the character traits we'd given her was that we gave her ridiculously small, Scootaloo-esque wings.
No. At that point, it'd be fucking bulk biceps because she's fully grown.
Well, I'd be comparatively sized. The idea was that she had wings that were just large enough to give her a bit of a boost when she jumped. So she was parkour alicorn.
Oh, interesting.
I feel like she should be given a voice that nobody takes her seriously with.
I can't believe how much development went into this.
Oh, dude, fucking. Oh shit! And you know what else that we did? We fucking. I can't believe we did this. Okay, so the next thing is that. Is that we brought back Discord as a villain, but we decided that wasn't enough, so we had him split. I think we wanted to come up with a reason for Discord to have not been, for him to have not been around.
Okay.
So we had this thing of magically split into 7 pieces, and then the entire story turned into a 7 Deadly Sins story.
Oh.
Harry Potter.
So we. Fucking
Harry Potter.
One of the no, not Harry Potter, but more.
He's split into 7 pieces.
Yeah, that's Harry Potter.
That's Harry Potter.
Yeah, also, K-Cat does mention Discord in the Garden of Canterlot in
but we pay. In 2014 we were paying so little attention. That was before the writing got more refocused. And at the time we were paying such little attention to what K-Cat had actually written. But fucking the use of the 7 Deadly Sins was stupid as fuck. That's one of the most the most cliched fucking.
It's a bit tropey at this point.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, but Wendigos were also meant to make a return, which I still think should.
I think should too.
To be
that
fair,
would be great.
I think they should. I'm amazed that they haven't.
Well, this was before they existed when she wrote the story, so that's why.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe the reason why is because the main protagonist is an alicorn that's amnesiac with a name like Don Treater.
Protagonist. No, because I think actually that Christmas episode came out right as she finished the story, so that's what's so crazy. So long ago.
But okay, so I did actually come up with an idea for fixing that. With the with the Wendigos, and I did write it down, and I did plan it, and it is like 50% done for Waste, because it's going to be in Wasteland Survival Guide, and just haven't fucking finished it yet. Which is the Arceus chapter that Needle has been begging me to fucking finish.
Okay.
She's been needling me to finish it. I've been writing. I started writing that back in February, I think.
Oh my gosh.
And I just never got around to finishing
you need to do more so we can alternate these stories back and forth.
Yeah. Oh! We've got character bios. We've got character bios.
Oh my gosh! Here we go.
Okay. So, Rail Spike.
Okay.
His issues with Envy stem from him being born in the Holy Equestrian Empire. Why did we have a faction called the Holy Equestrian Empire?
Yeah, I'd like to ask that too. Is this like the super culty, bring Celestia and Luna back to life if we can?
I don't know why we had that. I can't fucking remember.
Just dump Celestia's brain into a robot, and then all that good stuff.
Jesus Christ! I'm skipping shit and trying to find funny things.
No, okay, so I feel like you should actually get somebody to perform the chapter, the thing that you're doing or whatever. And Dawn Treater should have a voice that nobody takes seriously.
Yes.
Because of
yes.
So she should just be like, "We will find Discord!" And then everybody just stares at her and bursts into laughter.
Okay. I found the season one before out Equestria.
Oh my god.
Okay, I've got. How many scripts do I have? I don't. Oh damn! I don't have all of them. I've got Party Time in Palooza. Where the fuck is? That's a cell text file. I'm trying to find. There was one episode which I wrote that I knew for a fact that when it would on release, I'd be fucking hated for it. Because the entire thing was written. The entire thing was written as a comedy, like a full-on comedic. It was when she and Calamity went to clear out that one stable, right at the very fucking beginning.
Oh yeah.
So what I did was I rewrote that episode to be so it's Little Pip and instead of its normal thing, instead of the normal just following their adventures, it's Little Pip and Calamity drinking heavily in the bar the night after, because in the actual story they finish the stable quest and they go drink way too much. So the way I'd kind of written it was Little Pip and Calamity in the bar drinking too much, telling the citizens about their adventure in the stable. So as the story goes on and on and on, shit gets really... They start to blow things out of proportion. So, Little Pip's character model gets... It's when the story's being told from Pip's perspective, what her character model changes so that it's basically Velvet Remedy, but with the Little Pip paint job. So she's this really tall, beautiful... confident character as opposed to being really short and plain looking.
Okay.
I think that was an idea that I was trying to fucking remember.
I still like the idea of the Freckles Little Pip variant. That's and those are very adorable. The few arts of those that I've seen.
I feel like I should probably admit right now that I have been drinking for the last hour.
Fantastic.
I normally do the podcast completely sober, but fuck it.
This should be a good podcast.
We should have a podcast where everybody who can legally do it should drink.
I think that's everyone. I don't think we have anyone... oh, wait, shit, right. I forgot, in America, the legal limit is 21.
It is. And I don't drink anymore.
See,
Krelek is under 21.
we've got a couple of people who are under 21. I think Krelak, Oakart...
Oakart doesn't matter. She's in UK.
Oh, yeah, Oakart's in the UK, so she's fine, because they have the same drinking age as we do.
Yeah.
I think it might just be Krelak then, and I don't know if Krelak drinks.
Well, he shouldn't, because he's under 21.
There is that. So,
Needle's being more responsible.
You know, I was not responsible as a kid, and I made mistakes.
What? Needle made mistakes? I thought... what?
No.
Oh my god, gosh.
no.
What?
Yeah, like my ex-fiance.
Oh, yeah.
That
Oh,
was-
shit, right. There's that... Yeah, that's a story.
That is a story.
Whoops.
That's
That
y'all
really-
want to hear that story real quick while I'm still here? I gotta go in about a half hour.
Yeah, go for
I
it.
suppose if you want, you didn't really get to tell us the story when we brought it up at the Valentine's Day podcast.
Yeah.
That's because I was too drunk and I was just like, you know what? I don't want to touch that
Yeah.
one.
You told us about your rebound afterwards.
That was pretty fun.
He was very sweet. I felt bad that he was a rebound.
Oh yeah, that was the dude with the absolutely gigantic dick.
Oh my god. Stop. Somebody that I love and I care about very much listens to this podcast.
Fantastic.
And my mom might too.
Oh shit. Okay, we will not talk about that. Should we like tag in the title descriptions for podcasts not safe for people who know Needle?
Not safe for people who know Needle IRL. No, it's fine. I'm an adult now. My mom can fucking deal with it. Love you, Mom, if you're listening, I swear. Anyway, so my ex-fiance, I dated for 3 years, I want to say. I think my junior year, my senior year, and then for about a year after I moved out. We were engaged, I think maybe after 2 years, which, you know, I would say is a decent amount of time before you get engaged.
Yes.
Granted, at this point, we didn't live together, so I didn't really know him all that well. But at the same time, I was like 18, so I didn't care.
Yeah. That's being 18, I suppose.
Yeah, I was 18, so I didn't care. He was not the world's nicest guy, but of course I didn't see that because I was young and I thought I was in love, and, you know, I wasn't.
Wait, hang on, who's playing the guitar?
Only other person who's fucking in here.
Dude,
Sorry, I found my dad's 12 string.
Oh my gosh.
yeah, stop playing the guitar.
I didn't know you could even hear that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
we
had to
can
put
hear
from
it.
way away from them.
Just turn your mic off.
Yeah, just mute it
Yeah.
unless you're talking, is the best policy.
It's super loud. Alright,
Anyway.
you know,
So, he was not the greatest guy. He very much was an asshole, and I think he's part of the reason why I'm so cynical now towards men.
Yeah, that happens.
yeah.
He was very coercive. He we went to the hospital because I was not feeling good and I needed to see a doctor. And I had strep, so I couldn't really talk.
Oh, yeah.
Or not strep, I had tonsillitis.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah.
So my tonsils were all swollen and I couldn't really talk. I could barely breathe. So while I was sitting there, he was, being my mouthpiece,
Yeah.
And he told the doctor that I wanted to get on birth control because he didn't like using condoms.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you've got to be...
Holy
He didn't-
cow.
He didn't tell the doctor that he didn't like using condoms, obviously, but he's just like, yeah, she told me that she wanted to get on birth control, so I figure since we're here, we should just get it taken care of.
Oh, my gosh.
Holy fuck.
Yep.
Isn't that, like, vaguely illegal? Because that's not necessary. That's, like, non-consensually getting pills for someone or getting unneeded or unwarranted medication.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely... Yeah, like... And, from a moral perspective...
But since I couldn't talk, and I couldn't do anything about it, the doctor prescribed me birth control.
Oh, wow.
You could frantically shake your head, like, and pull the middle finger at him.
I actually threw a bunch of the tongue depressors at him.
Nice.
Well.
Yeah, I threw a bunch of tongue depressors at him. So, like... sorry, he's kind of hard to talk about. But it's fine. He would also not let me go see any of my friends. Like, I had a friend named Brett, and Brett was like my brother. Like, he was, a really good friend of mine. We had a birthday on the same day, so we kind of acted like we were twins and everything. He's a really good friend of mine. And Brett was coming through the town that I lived in, and he's just like, hey, do you want to hang out? And I'm like, hell yeah, I want to hang out. I haven't seen you in over a year. I miss you. You've been off at college. I moved in with my douchebag fiance. And I told Niji, I said, hey, man, my friend Brett's coming over. We're going to hang out for a bit. We're going to go get, like, dinner or go to the mall or something and just catch up. And Niji's like, I want to come with you. And I said, no, it's me and a friend. And he goes, well, then you can't go see him. I said, why not? I said, because he's a guy and I don't know him. I don't know what he's going to be up to. And I'm like, dude, this is a friend of mine that I've known for years. Like, he doesn't have any kind of interest in me. Leave me alone. And he hit me.
Oh, gosh.
And took
Wait, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I think we're brushing over that just a little bit. What?
Yeah. He was very abusive.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a thing where I flinch now anytime somebody lifts their hands. Anyway. So, he took my phone while I was trying to clean off the blood from my face because my nose it didn't break, thankfully. It just got knocked and started bleeding.
Wait, he punched you in the face, well, like in the nose.
Yeah. Well, on my cheek, and it slid and hit my nose.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yep. And he took my phone and told Brett, hey, something came up, I got called in for work, I can't do it, or some shit. And so Brett's like, it's okay, we'll reschedule. And he's like, if you tell him what happened, like, I'll hit you again. And I'm just like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
So shortly after that, the roommates that we lived in, they didn't really like living with him, and neither did I.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
And so I needed to find somewhere else to go. I needed to find somewhere else to live. He found himself his own place living in Sacramento, but he didn't find a place for me. He just kind of said, have fun. And so I asked my mom if she could co-sign for an apartment because I could afford an apartment. I had a job. I just needed somebody to co-sign for it because I didn't have any credit.
Yeah.
And my mom said, no, you got yourself into this mess. You can get yourself out. And she didn't know what was going on, obviously. She didn't know that my abusive fiance was hitting me.
Can you just use this one?
And so she's like, you got yourself into this mess. You can get yourself out. So
Not knowing what the fuck the mess was.
Yeah, not knowing what the mess was. I maybe if she knew what mess was going on, she would have been more helpful. I don't know.
I kind of feel like she would have stepped in if she knew her daughter was getting beat.
Yeah. But this is also the woman that locked me in my room, so.
Oh.
For an alleged gun threat.
Okay.
Yep.
Is this
So
American
after that, my dad. Huh?
Is this like an American parent thing? Because, like, yeah.
I don't know, man. But my dad, or at least the guy who I thought was my dad, he messaged me. He said, "Hey, your mom said that you're looking for a place to stay. I can pay for a ticket up here, a train ticket up here. You can bring one of your suitcases, and then we can go get the rest of your stuff later." And I said, "All right, fine." So I moved up to Milwaukee, Oregon, which is about, I want to say 15, 20 minutes away from the downtown Portland area.
Okay.
And I found out over the course of the year that I lived with my dad that he was also abusive and he was an alcoholic. And he refused to admit that he had a problem, which most alcoholics do. They refuse to admit they have a problem.
Yeah.
So I did my best to move out of there as soon as possible. And I ended up moving in with my boyfriend at the time, Jack.
Okay.
I'm not going to give full name because he's actually, like,
No.
in the pony fandom, and he's a musician in the pony fandom.
Oh, great.
So I moved in with my boyfriend at the time, Jack. Jack also turned out to be an alcoholic.
Okay.
And he turned out to be very verbally and mentally abusive.
Okay.
And so, of course, I tried to move out of there as fast as I fucking could. And now I live in Beaverton.
Yeah.
Oh, with my roommate, he's a good guy. He pays his bills, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's definitely all that matters with roommates.
Well, he's a little bit messy, but that's whatever.
Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's all roommates are kind of like. There's no such thing as a perfect roommate.
No, I had some friends in college with some pretty bad roommates, though. So that was one reason I decided early on that I would. I'd rather have a very small apartment than have to deal with roommates. So.
I think I'd take messy roommates over roommates who beat me, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a definite improvement.
Yeah.
But, like, I can get over the physical abuse because scars and wounds, they heal, they fade. But the shit that Jack would say to me, that still bugs me today.
Mm.
Like, he would straight up tell me, what sins did I commit to get stuck with your sorry ass? And I'm just like, what did I do?
Yeah.
Holy fuck. This got dark.
Yeah, you guys wanted to hear
Like-
about fiance.
Like, when you were talking about your ex-fiance, I just assumed it would be, you know, we were dating and then we just, it wasn't working, or, we weren't happy together anymore. I was not expecting it to go down a dark path, and then another dark path, and then a third dark path.
That was
a happy podcast.
the first 3 years out of my parents' house were very, very bad.
gonna live at home.
Huh?
I think I'm just gonna stay living at home for the rest of my life, like at my parents' house.
See, my choice with my parents, it was either go to college or get out. And so I told my dad, like my stepdad, I said, hey, I really want to get a job. Like, I don't want to go straight to college. I want to get a job, get some work experience, and then go to college.
Yeah.
My stepdad, he was all for it. He's just like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. That actually sounds really, like, sane, and that sounds totally fine. But my mom's like, no, it's either college or nothing. And I'm just like, what's wrong with me wanting to get a job first? Like, what's wrong with me wanting to get some work experience to kind of have a little bit of extra money to play with, since I'm still going to be living at home and, you know, I don't want to rely on you guys every time I want to go out and hang out with my friends. Like, what's so wrong with that? But my mom didn't want it, so.
That's what I did. Like, with me, like, I went to college, I worked a year, and I was paying rent to my parents, basically. I'm paying like $300 my parents working, so they were benefiting off money I was making. And then I went to college for a year, and then went back out working, and then went to college for another year, and now I'm still working, paying rent to my parents.
And my parents weren't going to charge me rent if I was in college. If I wasn't in college, they were going to charge me rent.
Yeah, that's essentially what I did, where I was in college and working, and then as soon as I graduated, then I moved out and took this job in Virginia, so.
Yeah, so I didn't go straight into college. I did a year's internship then at a production house. Then I worked for them as an editor and cameraman for another year, and only then, which was last year, did I start college. So
yeah, college is a tricky thing. Really, with any kind of university, it's like you don't want to waste the money unless you absolutely need it. Like, in my case, I knew I wanted to be some kind of engineer, and you do pretty much have to have a bachelor's in engineering to get any job. But it's like, with a lot of other jobs, you got to think about, it's only a means to an end. That's all university is a means to an end. So that's what's really most important about any kind of high school or secondary education is figure out what thing you like, and then look at the markets and see who's getting in, what do they need to get in, what kind of thing. Because even the job after college, I mean, I got it because I had the degree. I had to have the degree, but all the work experience I did when I was in college, that's what really counted. That's what really helped get me a foot in the door. So, yeah, it's just a good FYI for people out there.
I needed to have... I still need to have some sort of degree because whilst in South Africa, I probably wouldn't need a degree in film to take on a to continue a career in film because the community here is the film community here in South Africa is fucking tiny, so it's all word of mouth, and I already had 2 years of working with people who had a lot of connections themselves and who already knew and respected me as a hard worker. But I don't want to stay working here in South Africa. The film industry here in South Africa, it's fucking dead. Because in the fucking prices of tickets, film is about to become like Broadway here. Like,
holy cow, really?
Well, yeah, I mean, so essentially, fucking, I'd say 150 Rand will get you to the movies.
Yeah.
150 to 200 Rand, which is, I'd say that's about $15.
Yeah. It's about normal.
Which over here that's a fuckload. And and that's for one person.
Yeah.
So at the moment, the lower class is lower class. No, not a chance. They can't go. Lower middle class, very unlikely. Upper middle class, which is where I currently am, we will typically see maybe 4 films in the theater a year.
Okay.
And and because prices are getting more expensive, it's going to get to the point in a few years where no one but the upper class are going to be seeing films in the theater in South Africa.
Yeah.
Because there is no point in making film in South Africa because it's not going because
no one's going to watch it.
No one's going to fucking watch it except the extremely wealthy, and you're not going to make money off of that.
Yeah.
So the film opportunities now lie outside in the States and in the UK. And if I want to get a job over there, either writing for a game developer or writing for a fucking for a production house or so on or whatever,
CD Projekt Red.
I need to get. Yeah. Well, I've been looking at the jobs that I would be like, I'd be eligible for.
Yes.
Directly out of university. There's a few at CD Projekt Red, but there's also I think there's also 2 writing positions at Telltale.
Oh, sweet.
That I'd be eligible. Which would also be pretty damn cool because they put a lot of stock in their writers.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna change the subject real quick because I had an ooh look shiny moment.
Okay.
I'm getting dressed up as Derpy because I'm gonna go hang out with a friend at a small anime convention. So I figured I would peddle my wares and see if I can get people interested in going to Equestria.
All right.
Nice.
And I put on my wig, and I just washed the wig, like, after BabsCon. I got all of the hairspray out of it and everything, made it look nice and pretty again, and it smells so nice.
Yeah.
It's like strawberries.
Nice. Not strawberries,
I need to get a
peaches.
blueberry-scented one, so my wig smells like blueberries. Like a blueberry muffin.
Actually, I'm trying to remember now. I put that in the first episode about what flavor Derpy tastes with everything. I thought it was peaches. Pretty sure it's peaches.
Yeah, it's peaches.
Yeah, that was fun.
Peaches is good because I like peaches. Like, I really like peaches.
I think the reason I chose that was because that damn Peaches song that I've still got a parody at some point. I love that song.
Peaches song?
Millions of peaches, peaches for me. You know, a presence of the United States of America. Yeah, that's a good song. Yeah, so, we could connect back to your complaining about Comcast a little bit ago. I actually have a short segment. I complain about my cable provider in frickin' in the new Skyblog of public release thingy. In case you probably haven't seen that, anyone out there, but you can check it out. It's for the new Patreon tiers.
Oh yeah, fucking I'm really excited about the blogs. Though of course the problem is that I've now seen what Sky did, and obviously I've got to try and outdo it.
Always have to try and outdo it.
So Skybolts is 40 minutes and 1 second. So get ready for the Vermont log, which will be 40 minutes and 2 seconds.
I don't know why all of these like visual like video log kind of things I do always end up in like the 40-minute area. Like the same with this 2-year anniversary video, the behind the scenes Fall of an Empire. It's the weirdest thing, but it keeps ending up that way. So
I mean that keeps happening to me as well. Like Terminal Secrets is currently is on this really weird thing where it's on this pattern of 40 minutes 1 hour, 40 minutes 1 hour. Then the next episode's one of your episodes, so it's probably getting 40 minutes too. So it's like these weird little patterns that we find.
Yeah, in like
it's okay,
our writing stuff.
None of the Wasteland Survival Guide has surpassed 40 minutes yet. Thank God.
No, not an individual episode. I think overall though we're in like the 2-hour tier or something.
See, that's fine, but like 40 minutes straight of just me having to use this voice would probably kill me.
Yeah, make your head explode. I know that's what Justin Roiland talks about in his Rick and Morty behind the scenes, like when he's done doing a recording for like the Meeseeks or something, how he feels like he's gonna pass out.
I'm just looking at the fucking at our Wasteland Survival Guide, trying to figure out how many we've in terms of actual episode lengths.
Yeah, I have like internal codes that I kind of keep track of things, but I don't like to push the numbers because we're probably going to reorder everything at the end.
We have got 14 released chapters and 2 more sitting in the backlog. Oh shit! Yeah, next episode coming up is our in 2 weeks is our patron episode.
Yes. Yeah, let's see. In my own internal numbering, I count the foreword as episode 0, and then I count Traps, both part 1 and part 2, as 1 episode. So, because of those, the one that came out today has number 12, but in reality, yeah, it's like number 14 or 15.
So I think yeah, you've got to be right. It's about over 2 hours of Wasteland Survival Guide now.
Well, actually, if we look at the playlist, it should say the whole playlist length at the top. Let me see here. Fudge-a-dilly.
I don't know if they do that anymore. I know they used to, because you did it. You made a joke about it in your Fallout Equestria Honest trailer because Ray's Ramblings thing was 62 hours long.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. They don't couple all the the total length anymore. That sucks.
Yeah, that's really, really weird.
I'm gonna count it manually while you guys talk.
But then YouTube has done some stupid things. So YouTube pissed me the fuck off when they removed annotations, because I had a project in mind, like something I wanted to work on next year, once fucking Terminal Secrets was done and once Anthem Logs had finished Untypical had finished Volume 1 and Anthem Logs was done and dusted, because that's going to be a short-lived series anyway. It was only ever meant to be a miniseries. I wanted to work on a Choose Your Own Adventure audio drama where the annotations sort of act as your you click that annotation box and it's like, make this choice, and it takes you to a different point on the timeline. And they removed annotations, and I can't fucking do it now.
You can still do annotations.
No, you can't make annotations anymore. You can add existing annotations, but all they've got now is cards. And the problem with cards is that you can't link to... if you've got a card on video A, you can't use the card to link to anything on video A. You can only link to other videos.
It's funny the way...
So it's kind of like... So it's kind of like what you'd have to do with that sort of system is that you'd have to make every single choice for the Choose Your Own Adventure story would have to be a different video, with all the other ones being like unlisted or something. And the reason I wouldn't want to do that is because imagine having to scroll through that from an admin perspective. On the back end for us would be a fucking nightmare.
Oh no.
Okay, all right. Here's a workaround for that. Okay. In the description box, you can put a timestamp.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I suppose. Like that could work, but the problem is that you'd have to find a way to label the choices without, in a way, the audience knows which section it's referring to, but it's clear to the audience, but it's not giving away spoilers, because you'd have to scroll through the descriptions to past all the other choices to find the right one.
Yeah, I remember some of those very elaborate Choose Your Own Adventure kind of video setups that people did, like, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago was when that reached its peak, and I never did it personally. I always thought it was, like, frustrating and, like, way too hard to set up. And even those books are kind of niche themselves, and, it seemed to mostly disappear.
My problem with it is because I think the most prolific thing I've seen was that it was the creepypasta community did a fuckload of them.
Yeah, that's right.
But from what I saw was that no one had done anything to, like, a particularly high production value. Like, so like I was like, what I wanted to do was do something at a Terminal Secrets level production where you've got a full cast of 20 or so characters, and you've got all the sound effects and the music down.
You wanted to make a Dragon's Lair, but on YouTube and whatever.
Yeah, basically. But the problem is I can't do that anymore. Like, that was going to be like my 2018 project. Like, start plotting it out at the beginning of 2018 and a in December sort of thing.
Yeah,
but
it's just in general trying to work with YouTube is frustrating, which is a little convenient for me that I don't do like too crazy elaborate things. Like, I'm very, I guess, old-fashioned in that sense, but yeah, no, that's unfortunate.
I like experimenting because like that one of the things that they keep telling us, and it is like one of those things that's whenever your lecturers gave you like fucking whenever your lecturers give you like these speeches, these very impassioned speeches about finding your style, because
you'll play your part.
Film school is an important part of our film school is meant to be helping you develop your own style. You know, that's like every term they give us a new theme. You know, like this term you've got to do. Last term we did PSAs. This term we're doing video game cinematics. Another term we did thriller and horror or romance and so on. Like, that's always been a big thing for me over this last year and a half. It's been experimenting with as many different fucking styles and genres as possible to try and find my own voice. It's like, if I see the chance to do something different, I'll take the chance to do something different. Well, if they can make a cool story out of it.
Yeah, that's the initial hurdle to get through.
Why can I hate when they have when fucking glass bottles, they use the dark glass and you can't see how much alcohol you have left.
Well, you know, there's a reason that it's that color dark glass is for maintaining the, keep it good.
Really?
Yeah, no, that's why certain bottles are certain colors of glass. Like, brown glass specifically keeps out certain levels of light, so the beer doesn't spoil as quickly. It's all, like, because the fermentation process is affected by sunlight. It's the same reason hydrogen peroxide is in those weird colored brown bottles, is because it's sort of light activated. So it's like if you have to pour like an open wound and you pour a bunch of hydrogen peroxide on it, you want to make sure it's like under direct sunlight if possible, then it'll bubble up, peak bubbly and get all the death out of your open wound.
Yeah, see, I'm not a smart person. I'm just a word person.
Not a clever pony.
A slowly getting drunk word person. I couldn't even afford the nice, because I usually don't drink very often. When I drink, I get I only ever get liqueur.
Of course.
Yeah, I get girly drunk. Like for Christmas and my birthdays, my parents get me Baileys. Could not afford. I couldn't even afford like the cheap liqueur, so I had to get the cheap liqueur.
Fantastic.
Mary's butterscotch Irish liqueur. I didn't even know this was a thing.
Yeah, so let's see here. What other connections can we make from all that? Oh, we also released, like, literally just before we started streaming the Wasteland Survival Guide, the newest episode, which is Ammo. So feel free to check that out whenever you, the listener, have the time. I think it's fun. It's part of, as you might start picking up a small gun section that I've had put together. That's how I'm writing these now, is in like blocks of 5 or 6, and just hand needle the whole stack. She can read at her leisure, and yeah, because I'm really thinking in the section mindset. The big finished book. I'm really trying to hold to that idea because I think that would be the coolest thing. So
that's gonna be really cool once we.
Oh, man. I just want one solid one that I could print and package together, and we'll have the big final album. Oh, it's gonna be so sweet.
right? I'm pretty excited how that turns out, though. We should definitely get like some shit printed out.
Oh, I want to for sure.
really...
We could talk to our friends over at Dead Tree Productions or whatever it is, the PvP guys, those crazy guys.
Yeah,
they printed out their Game Master books on really cool like you know, some kind of like printed background to make it like look wastelandy, and I thought that was sweet. That was, you know, good looking enough that it would be great for everyone.
Cause there. Wow, that's a really pretty screen.
Because I think of like Halsey's journal from the Halo, I think it was the Halo 4 Ultimate Edition, and it came with her journal, and that was really cool. Yes?
Speaking of Dead Tree Studios, okay?
Yes?
I just found out a friend of mine actually helped write half of what the Dead Tree Studio guys did.
Nice!
Nice. We were sitting and talking, and I was just like, you know what'll be cool? When the Fallout Equestria D&D type thing comes out. And he goes, oh, you mean the one by Dead Tree Studios? I was like, yeah, they're pretty cool dudes. I dated one of the guys for a little bit. And he goes, yeah, I wrote like half of the shit that's in there. And I was like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, half of the shit about weapons is my stuff. And I was like, oh my god.
Sweet.
Okay, so I just checked. Our Wasteland Survival Guide is currently 46 A4 pages.
God.
That's not bad.
Right.
That's not bad for 7 months' work.
Oh no, and I mean, you know, and really, we're only writing it because of the pace it's getting released. So at the end, I think it'll, I think it'll all come together pretty well when we reformat things and make it all pretty and, you know, distributable.
Okay, so I'm done getting all pretty looking. I'm gonna head out and go meet up with a friend of mine. Go attempt to peddle my wares.
Alrighty, good. Best of luck. Have fun.
Yes.
And I need to go too because I need to go get ready for night shift.
Okay.
Oh God, no! It's gonna be just Sky in Vermont.
Yes.
I know
Everyone's
they're
favorite
going to talk about.
podcast.
As it should be. As it was fitting.
All right,
So
I'll talk to you guys later.
Goodbye.
It's not like I really.
Bye.
It's not like I talk a whole lot in these anyway.
Get off, Ryan. Go away.
The
Have
way I
fun.
figure is, if we're currently on 46 A4 pages and we're about 7 months into the year, and we still looking at continuing all the way through 2018, we could probably look at like 200 A4 pages.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, see, I'm ultimately just thinking about the content itself, and then once we have all that laid out, then we can organize it into the way it's structured on the paper.
Oh yeah, I've never actually thought about it in terms of its length before. This is like the first time, but I'm just now realizing that if we get it printed, it will be a fucking tome.
We'll see what happens. I think it'll be okay, depending on what level. Like, because I know like each of mine are only like 1 or 2 pages on like Google Docs anyway. So
yeah, mine are typically fairly long. Once I actually get off my ass and write them, they're usually 2.5 to 3.5 pages. Yeah. Although your ammo one was, I'm just looking at it now, was fairly long.
Well, yeah, because then I got mad, so I started writing mine longer. Make sure that mine aren't overshadowed by your fairy tale stuff.
Well, I actually haven't written a lore chapter. Wait, I haven't released a lore chapter since the Moria's Loins, which was back in middle of May. Mm-hmm. Jesus. May, June, July. Wow, that's 2 months ago. I haven't released a lore chapter in 2 months. I should probably hand in a lore chapter.
You should. And we have, of course, our first patron episode coming out 2 weeks from now, I guess. So that should be fun. Yeah.
And it's a good episode. I think I had to change all of one line in the patron chapter. I mean, to be fair, like I think the ramifications of that line were very important, but
yeah, we do have to make minor edits to keep it in, in keeping with everything.
Yeah, it was more like everything it matched the style, it matched the canon, it matched the tone. It was just a case of like, oh, this is a really heartbreaking episode, but I can make it slightly more heartbreaking if I change this one line.
Yeah, so that should be fun. And then I actually put together a small behind-the-scenes video while producing it on the back end, so we'll release that at the same time too, and hopefully everyone enjoys that.
It's funny because that's like, I think that video is the second time I've seen your writing setup, and the first time I've seen your writing setup was the picture you did for our Facebook page. How Americans write nuclear horse fiction, where you're just pointing guns at your keyboard.
Yeah, that was a short-lived meme I wanted to exploit. That was a good time.
Oh, so I did a thing today I got a fucking rant about, I suppose.
Do it.
Okay, so I played the Destiny 2 beta today.
Why?
Well, because the thing is that I actually really enjoyed the gameplay of the first Destiny. Like, honestly, I would consider buying that complete package again, just because I liked that gameplay loop of it.
Okay.
It was fast paced. The gunplay handled really, really well, and I'm a loot whore. I am such a fucking.
You sound very target audience for them. Absolutely.
Yeah. The thing is, though, is that being a writer, I look at the story forever. Story is like, God, it's one of the most important fucking things to me.
Story in quotation.
Which is why I have the original Destiny. It's why I got really excited for the second one. Because it was like, oh, wow, they're going to balance the solid gameplay with what could possibly be a good story. I mean, we don't entirely know.
Nope.
So far, it still just seems like they stuck Nathan Fillion in a voice booth and told him to be himself for like half an hour.
Yeah. It's not exactly a story.
But whatever, I'll play the beta and I'll get into it. And it's like, yeah, the story has got better, but you know what the problem is?
What?
They fucked the gameplay.
Oh no! What'd they change?
Okay, so this is all over the fucking internet at the moment. So many people have ranted about it.
Really?
That I'm having my fuck. So what they've done is that, the character build, like the abilities you have and the equipment that you have in PvE, when you're playing the story missions and stuff, it carries over into the PvP world, which is fine. That's how it used to be in the first Destiny.
Yeah.
But it meant that in the first Destiny, PvP was kind of a clusterfuck because everyone was just ridiculously powerful.
Yeah.
Because of the PvP stuff. Because of the PvE stuff. So Bungie's reaction to this was really fucking stupid. So instead of like splitting the loot or the powers or the fucking damage thresholds for PvE and PvP, like having them be different, depending on what mode you're in, they just decided to fuck with the PvE gameplay to improve the PvP gameplay, which would be a problem if it wasn't for the fact that most of the meat of Destiny is its PvE.
Yeah.
So movement speed is much slower.
Ugh.
Like it feels like you are running at half the speed that you did in the original game.
Oh, forget
the
that.
fucking aim control is a nightmare. Like I'm sitting there holding this on a fucking on a console remote controller, and I'm just thinking, and I'm just praying for when the fucking PC release comes on, so I at least have some sort of control. Because it is clunky and unwieldy as fuck. Then they did something stupid, like so now shotguns and sniper rifles are in the same weapon class as rocket launchers and grenade launchers.
Really?
Like, so you can only choose one or the other. Like, why would you choose a shotgun over a rocket launcher?
Yeah, this sounds like what they did with BioShock Infinite that I hated viscerally.
Like, it is so fucking stupid. Abilities take way too long to load because in the first Destiny they kept getting spammed in PvP. So they just decided, oh, we'll just increase the loadout timers by like fucking forever. It's like the bright side is that because this is a beta, like, the community is making the Destiny community is making a loud fucking noise about this. Like,
yeah.
Your general autistic whine and screech,
which Activision will not listen to.
Right, but I fucking pray they listen to it. But the major problem to me is that not enough people are bringing up is the movement speed. The fact that you are moving at like a fucking crawl.
Oh, that would bother me.
There is almost no, like, when I played, like, when I think of how Destiny combat should feel, I'd want it to feel like Doom. Like, that level of running at full speed with that kind of agility and that fucking, you know, when you play Doom, it's fucking, you jump over a crate, turn around, shoot a dude's head off, grab a ledge, pull yourself up, switch to another weapon, shoot another dude's head off, and then rip a dude apart with your bare hands, and this all happens in the space of, like, 10 seconds. It's fast, it's fluid, the gameplay is fucking tight. And in Destiny, it's like, Destiny 2 is like, fucking, how did they fuck it up? And also, having now played the beta, it really does feel like they've gone and just made improvements to Destiny 1. Like, they didn't actually need to call it Destiny 2. This could just be, like, a major expansion, and they should just leave it at that.
That's sort of the impression I got when they started talking about it. Yeah.
Like, the fucking, it's worse gameplay with a better story and slight tweaks here and there. But, I mean, the menu screens are all identical. The fucking, the character animations are the same. Fucking, the graphics are pretty much identical. It's like, the only thing that's improved is the writing, and that's all.
Yeah, and even then, it's like, just writing can't change the inherent, like, sloppiness of the universe. That's what frustrated me so bad when I remember all the very, very early marketing. That's what really got me enraptured in the idea of Destiny, was that one screenshot they released of the Fallen, or whatever, the forearm guys, and that tank, and the big snowscape. Like, that looked really cool to me. And then the word about how it was, like, everything within the solar system, everything was, like, within our planets, and, like, I really thought about, like, oh man, each planet is its own, like, alien world, and we're, like, it's like a solar civil war, essentially. I was really excited about all those prospects, and then it was so much nothing compared to what I was thinking it could be, and I just, like, I don't know, I had built up this great set of ideas in my own head, thinking about what it could be based on the grandeur and competent writing of the Halo series, but no.
The Halo series writing was good.
Yeah.
Fucking, I love the writing in fucking Halo Reach, especially. But, and I also, like, stupid fucking decisions from the first one where, like, why the fuck is the human, like, they've chose, like, so like, they decided, okay, we will only have one zone on Earth for people to go. What zone are we going to choose? Ooh, I know, like a fucking barren, dirty desert wasteland in Russia.
Yeah, one of the Cosmodromes in frickin' Kazakhstan.
It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? There is a reason why locations like fucking London and Paris and New York and all of these places are so fucking popular. It's because I would not, like, I would love to see Bungie model an entire fucking city and just for the players to just be let loose in, and they could have fucking done it.
Yeah.
Or, like, I would love to see what Bungie's interpretation of a futuristic fucking DC or something would be. It's like, fuck. But no. We'll just have we'll just pick one. And if they wanted to settle with Russia, fine. but then why not put it in Moscow or St. Petersburg? Which I have, as someone who has been physically to Moscow and St. Petersburg, those are some of the most, well, like Moscow, not so much, except like the Kremlin is really cool. But St. Petersburg is one of the most beautiful fucking places I have ever been in my life.
Yeah.
Because it's 42 islands all connected to each other via bridges. It's so fucking gorgeous there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, nah, let's just pick the fucking Cosmodrome.
Yeah. And
God,
it's like,
Bugsy.
you know what would have been cool, especially with that opening? It's like, think about if they had a lot of, like, really solid story moments. Like, if you had to, like, you're hacking your way through computers to get through those doors, for instance, and with each hack and each open, you learn a little bit more about, like, oh, yeah, this is when we had the Earth in Alliance, and the Russian and U.S. and everyone else had to get together because the alien fight. And then you go to the next computer, and it's like, you know, we've lost one of the battle stations. It's fallen from, you know, orbit because of this, you know, whatever. I don't know. It's like any kind of focus on story whatsoever. But no, it was literally Activision chopped everything off of it, and they essentially they wanted an MMO but on a game console. But it's like, I don't know. I'm not too familiar with MMOs, but I get the impression even they have better story than this. This is like, it's not thought out at all. Everything's the most reductive terms without making sense. Like the reason, you know, a lot of the nicknames for things in the Halo series, they're nicknames, like military, like, oh, that's one of them elites. But then you open the book, like I do, because I'm a freaking nerd, and it's like, oh, they're actually the Sangheli from the planet Sanghelios, and they were this part of the Covenant. And it's like, it's just like, you know, competence. And I guess there's the Grimoire cards or something, and you have to go to the Bungie website? And like,
yeah, exactly.
No, that's
like,
bullshit.
The Grimoire cards weren't even integrated into the fucking game. Like, I've heard that the lore and the world building of Destiny itself is actually fucking fantastic, but I'm not going to fucking, if I'm to play Destiny, then exit Destiny to go and read the fucking Grimoire cards on the Bungie website. I'm going to fucking, especially since it's not on PC. Like, if it's on PC, then it might be possible, because then you can just Alt-Tab out and open up the website. Like, that's maybe fine.
I guess.
But
it's
on console, but then fucking switch the HDMI cables around, because I've only got the fucking one. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, fucking... It's absolutely ridiculous how they managed to find themselves.
I don't know.
In this situation.
As far as I'm concerned, it's a massive step back in the evolution of the video game, like at least the first-person shooter industry, because, you know, like, a story or light story shooters, those were big in the 90s with, like, Doom and stuff, back when really video games in general were just about the mechanics. They were just about those 20-minute games. But then, that's one reason why Halo was so successful and why it essentially built Xbox on Master Chief Soldiers, is they were able to combine a fast-paced, competent first-person shooter gameplay on a console, so not a mouse, and have a very well-told story within the gameplay, just like what Half-Life had advented, like, you know, a few years before, where you're getting all this story with every mission, with every new room, you're understanding what's going on, and it's like, now it feels like we're going backwards. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. Like, you could probably argue that that Halo was probably the gaming equivalent of the Matrix. With the Matrix for action movies, like, hey, look, like, I don't like the Matrix films, any of them, but I do have to admit that they prove that action films can have competent writing and storytelling in them, or at least the first. And Halo was like that. Halo was very much along those lines of, you know, there were people who would buy Halo just for the story. Like, they wanted to know what would happen next. I mean, I bought Halo 5.
I bought all the books, man. I've read freaking most of those books out there.
never read the books. I did not get that into it.
I was sold on the story, man.
The problem is that by the time I got properly into, like, I was into it as a kid, and then I stopped playing it for a really long time, like, for fucking years. Halo 3 had come out and gone and been done. Like, I think I only really picked it up again when Halo Reach came out, and then I binged the whole series from beginning to end. So by the time I was considering reading the books was more or less after 4 had come out, and my opinion of after 4, my opinion of the Halo series sort of dropped, because at the same time when we got Halo 4, we were also getting Red vs. Blue seasons 9 and 10, which were like some of the best seasons. So at that time, I was really disillusioned with the Halo franchise. It's like, well, the official release is giving me bullshit like Halo 4, but the fan release is giving me Red vs. Blue Season 10, so I'm just going to give up. I'm not going to go into and dig deeper into normal Halo.
Yeah,
I'm just going to stick with that.
It's a really sad state of things. Like, I was so glad I was able to get into Halo when I did, and it's like, after all that, and it's like, I'm glad they're finally resolved, like, the Ghosts of Onyx and some stories like that. But all the new stuff, like the really new stuff they're going forward with, I'm very nonplussed by it all. And I feel like it's like the Pokemon series at this point, where it's like so far outlived its original self that now it's like trying to find new ground, like a new route. I just don't know. So
I'm trying to think. I don't actually think there are any long-running series anymore that I'm particularly interested in. Like, even fucking if they were to announce a Fallout 5, I wouldn't be particularly interested in it, because Fallout 4 fucked me. I'm still so salty about Fallout 4. Which is really funny, because I know that, like, in Sky, you're in the Echo Chamber Skype group with me.
Oh, yeah.
And, and because Mohan and JD have been replaying Fallout 4, like, aggressively.
Yeah, I've been reading all that back and forth.
I've been sitting there looking at this, like, how are you finding so much to do in that game? And every time that they go, I just keep wanting to go in and say, I just keep wanting to jump in and say, or you could play New Vegas. Yes, because I have now. God, I think I might have actually become a full-on Obsidian fan.
I told you, New Vegas. You enjoy your stay. That's the beauty of it.
Well, it wasn't New Vegas that did it for me. It was Pillars of Eternity, which, oh my God, I'm so excited for the sequel. It's just fucking crazy how excited I am for that. But also their other game, fucking Tyranny, which just like, if for y'all listening in the chat, if you're interested in one of the coolest premises for a video game ever, Tyranny is like, oh my God! So it's takes place during during a world in its Bronze Age, where evil has won, and you will. But instead of you being like, but you're not like fucking one of the rebels or any shit. No, you're one of the fucking generals in evil's army. You are one of the bad guys, and the whole game is essentially like, the game's secret hard mode is trying to be a good guy, which I fucking adore. I love it so much as a premise of jumping in, and it's like, do you want to join the soldiers who are of evil, who are highly disciplined, who kill everyone on sight and don't take prisoners? Or do you want to join the marauding band of maniacs who take prisoners, but only so they can torture them and brainwash them afterwards? Like, those are your choices.
That's where the fun is.
That's like as close as you get to a choice between good and evil. Like, you can try help people out, but none of your companions are going to stick with you, because your companions are typically made up of rapists and murderers and cannibal. There's a cannibalistic monkey woman who walks around completely naked.
that almost sounds like how poorly thought out the Nuka World DLC was, which is no companion except maybe Dogmeat will accept you even playing the game with them. You know, what I was trying to do early on in Nuka World was just play them against each other, and then I was just going to wipe them all out, you know, because that's the fun. I didn't care about anything. I thought I wanted my own theme park, you know, make me the Mr. New Vegas of Nuka World. But no, and any amount that you spend just trying to play through the story just to get experience. I just wanted to level up and crap. And then, you know, freaking, who was I with at the time? I think it was the reporter chick. What's her name? Piper. Piper starts all bitching at me, and I'm like, woman, I am trying to do something here and get us a bunch of crap that we can take back and keep, you know, everyone else happy. But no. So I never finished the DLC because I couldn't do any of the story. It's like Piper wouldn't talk to me, and then Curie wanted a divorce and all this stuff, and I'm like, what? I mean, talk about going out with a whimper. Let's say we're done with the Fallout series for 8 years, which is a very good possibility now.
Yeah.
But to end on Nuka World, that's just like sad.
Yeah. Well, you know, the funny thing is, do you think that Todd Howard will take over game development for Fallout 5? Because
I hope not. I hope they give it to someone else, like, immediately, and someone else runs the show and gives us another game, like my Fallout Hawaii idea or something on the West Coast. Ugh.
Fucking, I'd be curious to see because he's going to be now busy with Skyrim version 8.
Yeah, whatever's next. Skyrim.
Because Control 6 is never coming out.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
It's going to be the new Fallout 4, and it's going to be the new Half-Life 3. It's never fucking coming out. How old is he? Let me just look this up.
He's not an old guy. I mean, he could keep developing, but it sounds like they're done with them. Like they're just doing all this other crap, and I still I don't know. Boston was a weak location, in my opinion. They could have done anything else.
He's not a young guy.
He's like, what, 49?
He was, he was born in 1971.
No,
so
that's like 45.
Is 70. Really?
46? I think that's 46.
I haven't really done the math. That's 30. No. Like, so 71 plus 30 minus what? That's 29 plus 7. What's 29 plus 17? 46. He's 46.
So I mean, I don't know. It depends on like.
So I suppose he's still not.
He's doing pretty damn
like
good. At least, you know, he should be making oodles of money and everything. All that sweet ZeniMax money. But
yeah, he could still do another. Like I know. Like that. I suppose that is kind of young. Like fucking.
I almost don't want him to. I want them to let the New Vegas people make another Fallout game, a true Fallout game. That would be. Because it's not enough. Fallout 4 was not enough for me. The story... Here's my other problem is, like, there weren't enough opportunities to really play all sides before making your choice. Like the Brotherhood of Steel were, like, comically evil. Like, I mean, I don't know. I know the Brotherhood of Steel were originally kind of villains anyway, but... I felt like Fallout 3 played them all very well. You could understand why the Enclave was doing what it did. You could understand why the Brotherhood and the Outcasts were doing what they did. It was very nuanced, and like, you know, I don't know.
Well, you know who actually should take over the next Fallout game, which I know isn't going to happen because he's retiring after he's got one game left and then he's retiring. Is the original creator of Fallout, Brian Fargo?
I know.
Who the founder of Interplay, who's now busy working on Wasteland 3 and Bard's Tale 4.
Yeah.
But that's fucking just give it back to the guy who originally did it and his old team, because his old team was essentially basically him and the guys from Obsidian.
Yeah. So he would like lead story development on a new Vegas kind of game, which would be perfect. But
Exactly. See, we all just want our New Vegas too. Like I
really do. I want like something centered in like I don't know. Make it San Fran. San Fran would be perfect for a big game like that. Like you look at the geology of the Bay, which I'm very used to now after living there for frickin' 2 years. It's so perfect. There's all this old Navy stuff and Army stuff and coastal forts. It's like you could do similar to New Vegas where you've got factions on each side. You could bring in another Chinese submarine subplot. You could make it like, I don't know, someone take over the capital of New California Republic and you gotta fight them or join them. And I don't know. It would be neat. Something else.
But well, like the Chaotic Berries in the chat has brought up the Frontier mod. Now, I have a big problem with the Frontier mod. Is that the Frontier has seemed like in all of its marketing, wait, Sky, do you know what the?
I don't. You might have to prep me and everyone else.
Okay, so it's essentially like I'm not quite sure where it takes place, but like it was like this snowy place where the NCR and Caesar's Legion are at war with each other in like huge conflict.
Oh, so like Colorado, probably.
Yeah, probably Colorado, which is where the next Wasteland is taking place, which I'm so fucking excited for. Anyway, so like in a snowy area and like so survival and all that other shit plays into it, but the game is currently like they're mostly marketing it right now as an action kind, like they're mostly marketing the action, which Fallout is not an action game. Fallout
is a story game.
Fallout at its best has been story first with possible action. And that was like, so like when I look at the trailers for the Frontier, I'm like, yeah, it's cool and I'm kind of excited for it. But at the other hand, I'm not at all interested in these shots of riding in a vertibird while it gets shot down and everything's spinning around and there's people shooting around. Like, no, if I want that, I'll play Call of Duty, which I fucking, I play Fallout because I want it to be story based. And another thing is that the Frontier takes itself very, very seriously, and that's another major mistake of Fallout, of Bethesda's interpretation of Fallout, is that Fallout is not a serious game. Fallout is a political satire. It's a parody of American culture. It is a comedy game with some serious elements, like the way but it plays itself out in a very different way. Like they'll have a serious storyline, but the way that you and the world react, and when the world sort of acts and reacts to the storyline is not serious. Like everyone sort of knows, okay, this is kind of serious what's happening here, and you've got a few characters like fucking Leggett Lanius or the NCR dudes who are like, this is serious or whatever, but then you've got other people like fucking Benny or Yes Man who know what a fucking joke this all is.
Oh, that's what made Yes Man such a solid character, is because of how ludicrous he was. He's like, yeah, Benny should have probably programmed me to only listen to him. Oh well.
The way, like, a good Fallout game is a good Fallout game or a good Fallout story is one where you've
got to have that
most of the characters play it serious, but then you've got a few major characters who are in on the joke, that they know that none of this they know how the player is going to play this. Which is funny because, Fallout Equestria plays it the exact opposite. Fallout Equestria actually takes the Bethesda-style tone of being very, very self-serious, which is unfortunate because I think that has affected how we write our Fallout Equestria stories as well, is that we write them very self-serious.
Yeah, I try to keep the humor fresh, but I definitely am trying to make it very weighty.
Terminal Secrets takes itself very, very seriously, which sometimes I regret making that tonal choice, and it's not a choice I can backtrack at this point. Like that, it's set in stone. Terminal Secrets will be that from now until episode 6 when it ends.
Well, I mean, we are about half over anyway, so.
Oh yeah, we are Well,
And
no,
so
no,
is
definitely
Confessions,
half
actually.
over.
Confessions is over half over, so that's the lucky thing
Yeah.
about having the DJ Pony character is that he can have these moments of just breaking the story, being told, and then tell shitty puns and stuff, and, you know, it's
Yeah.
good for that sort of, like, ebb and flow of tone.
Well, that was why he added Blue Ball in as well. He has very much of a DJ Pony role
Yes,
where
yes.
he calls out a lot of the shit that's going on, and he's a lot more of a comedic character. And there's also the fact that he is just desperately trying to get laid. And
Oh yeah, no, he was my favorite character in the third episode, which I didn't write because he's just so great, and yeah.
Yeah, like that was what, like, I didn't, most of, like, 90% of the third episode was written by Skybolt, but I wrote all of Blue Ball's lines, and he is fucking fantastic. And he continues to be fantastic in episode 4, by the way. But episode 4 actually does manage to walk that line a little bit better, but it's kind of funny. So you guys will probably notice this when it does finally come out, but Untypical is kind of my answer to my misgivings about the tone of Terminal Secrets. Because Untypical, very much this case of, you've got all these characters who've kind of realized that they're in a shitty situation, but they don't give a fuck. Like, they are just having so much fun with what they're doing. Like, there's a point in the first episode right now where a character like fucking is standing on an airship floating above the ground, like fucking 110 stories off the sky, and she's without a parachute. He's like, okay, well, I've got to get from here to the bottom. And one character's like, but you don't have a parachute. Yeah, well, that's 30 seconds from now Jessica's problem, not current Jessica's problem. So I'm cool with this. And she fucking jumps, and like 30 seconds later, she's like, oh god, fuck, 30 seconds ago, Jessica, she's such a bitch. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's just, I'm tired of taking myself seriously. Oh, Jesus, I think I might have drank too much.
Perfect. No.
Which he says as he pours himself another glass.
Yeah. No, I usually try to get through the podcast on a certain amount of caffeine. That's what powers me up for the conversation. Like, you could tell for those people that did manage to watch the Skyblog before this, I literally ran out of juice in like the middle of it and had to like take a break and reset. And even then, it like goes out with a whimper. So the future Skyblogs will have much better core content, but just possibly not as much visual bullshit added in. So that was why I sort of tried to state that the way I did. And for any new patrons, if you do join because of that, the old Skyblog monocasts, the 4 from like whatever ago, I actually think those are much more interesting. So you can enjoy those, and then I'll try to find a happy medium as we keep going forward.
What? Vermont is Keemstarring his radio play again. I don't get that. Like, I know Keemstar is a name and that's a person who exists, but I don't get the joke.
Yeah,
Admiral Pratt.
Keemstar is like the frickin' TMZ of YouTube, which is just peak cancer.
Which is funny. YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, YouTube's its own weird place. But, no, I'm just trying to think about getting production going again because now I have literally 3 business trips starting at the end of August. So I'm on another ticking clock where I need to get Confession 6 done before then, and then anything else loaded before then, because then literally for like a month from the end of August to the end of September, I'm going to be like out of town nonstop. I might be able to live stream like from a hotel room and do like a blog or something. That should be fine. But fuck, man, my new job is sending me all over the place, which is cool and will give me story ideas, but I'm busy. So anyway.
Yeah, you see, you write most of Confessions has been written on a plane.
Exactly, and like even Terminal Secrets 3 was written in my frickin' Vegas hotel room when I was like half sick and half like zoned out of my mind from that class. Ugh.
All the time you spent in Vegas, it's amazing you haven't written a story set in Vegas.
You know, I've been considering that, bringing in my own version of a new Pegasus into Confessions, but I haven't settled on a means yet. I might still happen, but I'm not promising anything yet.
I've always been kind of uncertain on doing it because I'm a big fan of the sidefic Heroes.
Oh, that's where that's set in, yeah.
Which is set in New Pegasus. Which is set in Paradise, which is just shortened to Dice. Although because Equestria narrator insists on saying it in the most southern accent possible, they call it Dice.
I don't know if that's southern. That sounds really screwy to me. I'd have to hear it myself.
I know, like he delivers everything with super fucking southern, and oh my god! So this is entirely Needle Stitch's fault, by the way. But
of course it is.
Half of fucking Untypical's characters speak with a southern accent now because she's chosen to deliver because she's playing the main character, and she delivers her with a southern accent. And so like I hear that and like, okay, cool. I hear that, so I'll write her. I'll just add southern inflections and that sort of style of speech when I write the character. But then I start writing the other characters, and I'm kind of like, well, I can't have them enunciate properly. I might as well make them southern too.
Yeah, it just collect the set.
I have to keep going back and editing them to make them speak like human beings. No offense to the southern.
Yeah, I've sort of actively not wanted to have an explicitly southern character in Confessions, partially because I didn't like, I wanted to leave that space open in case we ever came back to the Red Eye character, so I could do my deep Georgian accent again and revive the character. But
Red Eye origin story is still coming. I promise.
I would love to see that.
I promise.
And I always worry with the DJ Pony character that I slip into Southern sometimes because it is sort of one of the mixes of California accent is Southern, and so yeah. So I try to keep things a bit different for everyone else, for all the other characters out there. So yeah,
like. I think I've mentioned this in previous Stable Talk podcasts, like back when we weren't the Breakroom and we were Stable Talk.
Yeah.
That was, how long? God, that was many, many years ago. Well, not many, many years. It feels like years ago. It really does.
It really does.
It feels like years ago. But I mean, it was this time last year, fucking, that we were doing Stable Talk. But I remember promising on one of them that because Terminal Secrets, I think the fourth iteration of Terminal Secrets, the fourth time I pitched it to the studio, to Stable Tech, it was tooled as a Red Eye origin story, and it got cancelled again.
I know. I was so happy when they let me stay with that as the casted character.
Right?
That was in the Stable Tech time where they're trying to tear me down every piece by piece. So,
and they fucking cancelled it again. And I have my fucking story notes. I still want to do it. I still, like, maybe I'll do that as like my last story in this universe. Is I will do the Red Eye origin story.
That would be sweet.
As like my fucking send-off.
No, I remember that was actually one thing I explicitly said to shoot, I forget what his fan name is. The main character of the Ranger guy. He I told him, I didn't want an explicitly Southern voice for several reasons, in that the Southwest really isn't the same as the South. The American Southwest is a sort of hodgepodge of a lot of different influences, and that's where it was set. It's essentially set in quote unquote the Divide. My interpretation of the Divide, which is we used to have a whole bunch of silo sites down in like Davis-Monthan Air Force Base and areas around there, which is lightly what it's inspired by, sort of like a Southern Rocky Mountains kind of like. Kind of like, that the Western, the New Vegas-y influences, and so, Anyway, and the military in general, even though there's a lot of Southerners in the military, there's everyone else, and so all the accents sort of blur into one, like, something that I thought he captured fairly well. So it's a little backstory to the Ranger.
Good lord. Oh, sorry. I am so spinning right now.
Yeah, because America is crazy. We've got, like, I know language experts have, like, found, like, 28, like, distinct accents or something like that between different areas. Some of them are very, very contained, but it's, like, just the general sense, because it's so freaking big, you know, you tend to get that balkanization over time anyway. So yeah, accents are fun. That was always a leading thing in Confessions for me, was just to experiment with a different accent for each character, just for my own sake. And without giving any spoilers that I've probably already given already, I think people will enjoy episode 6 and the accent that comes out with that. So.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to episode 6 and the accent that comes with that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just generally looking forward to episode 6. That's going to be a really, really good
I know.
one.
I had to ask her for a file I was missing, but I've got that back now, so I should be getting back to editing that. If not tonight, hopefully tomorrow. And then next weekend, I have a 3-day weekend, so we are getting closer. I swear, within a few weeks, I want to have this thing out, and hopefully everyone will enjoy it. So, holy cow.
And we have most of our audio down for episode 4. I still need to just send everything to Kelly, since he does all my editing. What was... is that you that said that? For a second, I thought Needle had rejoined us. Who's your favorite and least favorite Ministry mayor, asks Quantum Zim.
Least favorite is Fluttershy for betraying all of Equestria and ending the world.
Yeah, gotta go with Fluttershy for least favorite.
Favorite is probably back to Applejack, because I love her and Steelhooves' dynamic in the story, so, yeah. That's where you get the southern accent in. The apples.
I think mine's kind of like a two-way tie between... Well, it's kind of like a three-way tie, actually. That's kind of problematic, because I really like Applejack, because she basically spearheaded fucking the industry of Equestria. She was the growth of that country during that time. But then on the other hand, I really, really fucking like the dynamic of Pinkie Pie and Rarity with the Ministry of Morale and Image.
That's true. That is a good story.
Because those two characters essentially became the propaganda and spy masters. Like, they became Big Brother.
Yeah.
And I think K-Cat did a... Like, I recently got a physical copy of the book, like the 3rd edition printing with fucking 1,600 pages, by the way.
Nice.
1,600 pages. But I've been rereading the book because of it. And to be fair, as I've been going through it, it is not as good as I remember. Like, it is a very flawed book. But it is still excellent.
Yeah, it's one of those where people need to remember the how it was written, and, like, you know, it was sort of released in, like, a serialized format, you know, on film fiction or wherever initially. So it definitely has that sort of episodic magazine quality.
And written in, like, fucking 8 months.
Yeah, that like, too. The speed is insane. Holy hell.
That's a writing speed that would put Stephen King to shame.
Yeah, just in sheer word count. Like, holy crap.
Like, and you can kind of... I can kind of feel it. Like, there are several sections that do feel like padding out there. But I also kind of understand why she did it the way she did it, because she wrote it to feel like an RPG. And to be fair, Fallout Equestria at 600,000 words is the length of an RPG. Like, if you were to play an RPG and choose every single path, every single different path, and play all the side quests, so all the content, you would have about 600,000 words.
Yes.
Like, that's the average length of an RPG. for all the content. So it does kind of make sense when you look at it like that. But it also, like, KCAT also then essentially did what a team of RPG writers do over 2 years in 8 months.
Yeah.
Like, that's
holy cow.
fucking... So obviously there are going to be flaws and problems. And obviously because she wanted to have that side quest kind of feeling, there's a lot of side quests in this book. And like, so let's pretend like we're in an alternate universe where or magical universe where the animated series was reborn, and I found. Let's pretend we're in that.
Could you imagine if some rich motherfucker, like I don't know, just for the meme worthiness, let's say Elon Musk really fucking loves Fallout Equestria, and he just like, hey, I heard about you guys, and hey, you're South African. Here's like $50 million to make the series for real this time. Could you imagine how awesome that would be? Over like, what, 5 years we actually put the whole series together?
Fucking, as an aside, by the way, I'm waiting for the day Elon Musk admits to the world that he's actually a supervillain. I will sign up as his henchman like that.
Yeah, he's going to be like the Hank Scorpio of real life.
Yeah. But anyway, outside of that, so in a world where that got created, dear God, there is so much I would cut. From the
oh yeah, we'd streamline the hell out of it for adaptation.
There is so the thing is, in the adaptation we still plan to keep a bunch, but I mean I would cut Zenith entirely.
Really?
I'd cut the Enclave entirely.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
You've lost half of the fans, but interesting.
Yeah. No, the Enclave entirely. And because the problem is that once after Red Eye dies, the story goes to hell. Like, because Autumn Leaf and the Enclave characters, they are not as intimidating or interesting villains as Red Eye, because Red Eye has been built up. Red Eye gets built up from like chapter 4, all the way through the next like 1,500 pages, until he finally dies. And even when he dies, his death is kind of a cop-out because his plan was so well formulated and structured throughout the book that like Keigai kind of found herself in this problem of she couldn't undo her own villain's ending.
Yeah. And
had to like take the Deus Ex Machina to like with the fucking Hellhounds.
Which is sad. It's like the Boba Fett bitch way to die out.
Like I exactly, he does go out into this very bitchy way. Because the problem is that, and aside from the fact that Red Eye is 100% right in what he's doing.
That's true, too.
As well, like,
yeah,
he's bringing back slavery, but he is single-handedly taking the horrifying, disgusting, atrocities of the wasteland and turning that into an actual civilization. Like,
yeah.
And he even recognizes, like, he admits that he is creating a world where people like him will not be welcome. He is creating a world that isn't for him, where he will have no place. Like, he is a far better protagonist than Lil Pip is, which is why I want to write the Red Eye origin story so fucking much.
I agree. And I want to...
Really... And he has to have the Southern gentleman accent.
The perfect deep Georgian accent.
Exactly, but he's fucking... but anyway, I can't even remember. So yeah, I would cut a lot out, but I would find a way for the SPP tower, or the Elements of Harmony, or something, or the Gods of Equestria, or something like that, to result in Red Eye's defeat, as opposed to using them to defeat the Enclave. So the Enclave, I would cut them from the story entirely. I wouldn't
cut them because you need them to explain the maintaining of the towers and everything. But definitely, I agree with you in the sense that they would be scaled back. Red Eye would be the last episode villain. Absolutely.
Yeah. Red Eye would be the last episode. Like maybe the Enclave would be minor villains, or I would change their role. Like they could exist, but they wouldn't be the villains.
Like, yeah, bring their story earlier on and just have them, battling out as, one of the side characters. But it's still Red Eye's, whole army gathered that's the main villain.
Yeah. Or, I'd have the Enclave be severely weaker than they are in the book. Like, in the book, they are a full-on fucking military force with all these ships and so on that's able to take on the entire wasteland by themselves. Like, no. I would scale them down. They are just a little bit weaker than the Steel Rangers, sort of fucking.
Or at least comparable, because then you could have them too playing in the dynamic, like in Fallout 3. Yeah. How they're both battling for control of all the capital goodness and structures. Yeah.
But then I'd also severely scale down the Steel Rangers stuff. Arbu, I would straight out. I'd
take out the whole Arbu bit. Yeah, that was a weird. Yeah. That was a weird chapter. I don't know.
I would get Friendship City. I'd cut straight up. Everything to do with Friendship City, I would cut. Gardens of Equestria, I wouldn't cut, but I would change how it's used. The shit with the Bale Firebomb, fucking the Goddess. The Goddess, I also wouldn't cut, but she would be so... Her entire role would be changed. Which, and that's not... This isn't necessarily me criticizing the book. All of these plot points that I'm describing here work in the format of a book where there's no time limit and where pacing isn't an issue because you aren't... Because no one... Because, I don't know about you guys, but, I don't sit down and, read an entire chapter of a book at once if I don't feel like it. I'll read until I feel like I like not reading anymore, then I'll close the book and I'll stop. If I'm watching a show, I will watch it until the end of an episode. Which no one stops watching a show in the middle of an episode and then picks up from that point again.
Yeah, the structure is very important in visual media.
Exactly. Pacing in a book is handled very differently. So the pacing in Fallout Equestria is fine. It's not amazing, but it's fine. And those plot points that I have there, I wouldn't... If I was, rewriting the Fallout Equestria book, I wouldn't cut any. I wouldn't cut those plot points. I'd cut stuff, but I wouldn't cut those plot points. But the fucking... if I was doing it as an animated series, or hell, even if I was doing it as an audio drama, I would cut I would cut a fuckload. I would retool a fuckload more. Just because there's so much that you can't do, and because of pacing, because you know that your audience has to watch it an episode at a time. They're not going to watch, they're not, out of a 60-minute episode, they're not going to watch 4 minutes and 45 seconds. They're going to watch 60 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
So
this is one of the reasons, in my opinion, Game of Thrones Season 6 is one of the best, is that because it wasn't shackled to the books anymore. It was its own story. They could just write it for screen rather than adapt it from already ridiculously oversized novels.
Exactly. Season 6 managed to be a lot stronger than that, which, I suppose we should talk about.
We should. I did see episode 701. I'm not sure if you did.
Yeah. Oh, I did. Of course I did. Can you just babble about nothing for a second? I need to go pee.
Sure. Yeah.
And then we'll get...
Yeah, so it's a, yeah, Game of Thrones Season 6 was great, especially I rewatched the last 2 episodes. For those fans of Game of Thrones know how incredibly satisfying the last 2 episodes of Season 6 were. The Battle of the Bastards, and them finally taking back Winterfell from the damn Ramses. And, what kind of sick bastard house has... The symbol of your house is a flayed man hung upside down on one of those cross X's things. That's fucking sick. Really? I mean, I don't know. I pirate flags have skulls and stuff, and those are sort of meant to be intimidated, but that's a whole lot different than don't know. That's like having a flag, and then you put the image of a chair, electric chair, some guy getting electrocuted on there. It's just like weirdly sick. And so, yeah, just to see the flags drop at Winterfell, it's just like of House Stark. It's just like tear to your eye kind of moment. Holy cow. And then...
and the back.
Okay, great. I was just recapping Battle of the Bastards for everyone.
Fuck. Battle of the Bastards is fantastic. And if anyone, for people who are interested in Battle of the Bastards, there is a fantastic analysis of it from a channel called Lessons on the Screenplay, where they basically compare it to a dialogue scene. Like, it has the... Battle of the Bastards was structured identically to any dialogue scene. It sort of follows the same scene rules, which is interesting.
Oh, absolutely.
Also, I heard of this thing. The director was describing how he had imagined the Battle of the Bastards and the mindset he used to create that he used going into making it was that he pictured it as two blokes walking into a bar with their mates and getting into a fight.
Oh, interesting.
Like, he pictured it as a bar brawl where two guys brought their mates. Which, I mean, if you think back to the Battle of the Bastards, that's actually very much how it plays out.
That's true, yeah.
It's a bar brawl with swords.
Several thousand swords.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I was watching some behind-the-scenes stuff in the Battle of the Bastards, and you know that, and it's amazing how little CGI they used in some of those shots.
Oh,
So you know that long shot, the one that they do in one take, that they do in one shot with. Yeah, so the horses and the dudes running past him and so on was not done in CGI. He was like, they had, I think, 40 horses on set with them at the time. So you've got Kit Harington, the cameraman, and then the dude behind the cameraman to help the camera operator walk, going through, and like you've got, and it's fucking incredible to watch as like dudes ride by on horses and then get yanked off on cranes, and you've got to have like fucking Kit Harington timing his sword strikes to perfectly with the cranes yanking dudes away. And then another dude sort of running on set, and they have a little sword fight, and two horses run by. And I'm just sitting there thinking, the cameraman must be shitting himself.
Because he can't see around him. He's looking through the lens, so it's like if someone sidelined him, he's going to get smashed.
Like, that's why they've got to have a dude standing behind the cameraman. Like, he's got he typically has a hand on the shoulder and a hand on his hip to sort of guide him. But, I mean, fucking... horses are rather large, fucking intimidating beasts if they're running at full speed.
Yeah.
Like, that's got to be really, really fucking scary. Or fucking Kit Harington, who's got to now who's got to stay in character. Like that, you know that shot right at the beginning of the fight where he's standing there waiting to meet the army, and then you've got that side shot of both armies colliding, and like the from both. That was also not CGI. That was Kit Harington standing in a field with the cameraman facing him, and 20 horses running towards him, and 20 horses running behind him.
Yeah.
And supposed to just sort of stand there and pray that everyone manages to hit their mark properly.
Yeah, it's just this nuts. That was a very well done scene.
Some of the brown on his costume was not mud.
No. Yeah, and then then of course the magic sort of last minute save by the Knights of Vale, and you've got Littlefinger just working his little finger back into the story, and so now he's trying to play Sansa against him, which is, I'm sorry, it is kind of ridiculous. She has no place leading House Stark. I mean, everyone, they didn't care if he's a bastard. He's the king of the North. I mean, so there's that. Right. They already think if he is a bastard, they don't care. And then when they learn the truth that he's not, it's like everything's going to change even more so.
Yeah, I think there'll be like a little bit of there'll be like a the way I kind of see that playing out is there'll be kind of like, oh well, I suppose we'll talk about it, and then there'll be a speech, and then a dramatic like inspiring song will play, and then there'll be like, fuck it, we love you anyway. Like that's how that scene's gonna go.
For
like,
me, it's like I can never forget seasons 1 through 3 Sansa, where she's just the biggest idiot and just, just hanging around King's Landing after they chopped her dad's head off, after both of them should have very viscerally said, don't go south. When you ride south, Starks die. And as has happened so many times in the series and the past of the series, oh my gosh. So, yeah, I'm still not over that with Sansa. It's just so stupid.
Although, to be fair, I think that was a good depiction of how she would act in that situation.
I know.
Like, what the fuck? Like, that's not excusing the fact that she is still an idiot, but anyone in that situation would have been that stupid and helpless and annoying.
Yeah.
I was like, although it doesn't excuse season 1 Sansa, who was just like in love with Joffrey and fucking was willing to turn on Arya because of Joffrey and shit like that. Sorry, hiccups.
Yeah, and the other thing too is now is she's going to play the game with Littlefinger. Is she's like, he wants you as a wife, right? Like, he wanted your mom, and now she's dead, and so now you're this, this object of his weird fantasy, obsession, and it's like, unless you're willing to like follow through on that, like very literally, then you better think about your allegiances here, because Jon Snow legitimately loves her as a sister, and Littlefinger is just looking for power, and then you as his like, token object,
Yeah, but like let's be honest, I really doubt Littlefinger is going to survive.
I think he'll survive season 7, but as far as the end game of the series, he's not going to survive. I very much doubt that.
I think Sansa's going to kill him at the end of the season. Like, I think she's going to get either Sansa or Brienne.
Oh, that's a good point.
But I definitely don't see. It's also really, really depressing. This is so fucking depressing. But I also don't think Brienne's going to survive the series. No. I think she'll survive season 7, but she's going to die in season 8.
I really don't know what they're going to do for the end. Like, I have some theories, but this is Game of Thrones. I think like the others, the White Walkers, they're going to push all the way down to King's Landing. I think like Winterfell might be safe, like it'll lock itself down as a citadel, but like this is Game of Thrones. Like there are few happy endings. I honestly don't know.
That's what I kind of like about the series, is that they have still managed to keep themselves from getting predictable.
Yeah.
That's what I think has been so fantastic, is that despite a lot of the series has made a lot of mistakes throughout its runtime, of course.
Uh-huh.
They have sort of found themselves at a point where anything can still happen, which Game of Thrones, honestly, it really, really does. It's one of those series where everyone hypes it up, and the hype is real. The hype is there for a reason. Like, it does actually.
Can I tell you my secret dream? I really don't want Daenerys Targaryen to win, or even maybe live to the end of the series, because she's gone through a lot of crap, but she is drifting into like Mary Sue territory, and I never liked her as a character anyway. I was always just kind of like, okay, she's like the distraction way the hell over there, and then all the time she wastes in Slaver's Bay, and it's like, I don't know how much like. It's just dawdling. It's all it felt like to me. It's just she's like screwing around. So she's got an army and a navy, but you're screwing around. I don't know. I don't want her to win. I want my ultimate end game would be Jon Snow wins. He like, I don't know, Tyrion lives at the end, and then he can go rebuild House Lannister with, I don't know, cousins or whoever's left in frickin' Casterly Rock, and then Jon Snow remains King of the North, and they hold the wall for the next 1,000 years and the next big winter. I don't know how to live. And then they say season 8's going to be all movies, quote unquote, so they'll be like hour-and-a-half long, like Sherlock episodes, which is great. But we are at the end. We're in the last 2 seasons, last 20 hours or so.
Like the way I kind of see that. Definitely, this season we're going to see one of Daenerys' dragons die.
Yes.
Like that is absolutely going to happen.
Probably the green one.
But they did kind of. Okay, so we are now entering spoiler territory. If you haven't seen the new episode. If you haven't seen the new episode of Game of Thrones, fuck off. All right, they're gone. So, they did set it. They did set up one of her dragons dying, with what's his name, Euron Greyjoy going to Cersei Lannister.
Yes.
And him being all like, well, hey, what's up? You know, I want to marry you, and I'll go do it. And, like, because I know in the books he even had in the books he has a horn that lets him control dragons.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, supposedly, like, he hasn't actually met a dragon in the books yet. I haven't read this yet. It's just fan theory that I've heard. But apparently, in the books he does get hold of this horn during his travels before he goes back and takes control of the Greyjoys. Mm-hmm. So the theory is that he'll take control of one of her dragons and fucking kill off.
Oh, that would be interesting. Like he takes one of the lesser dragons, kills the other with it, and then takes that dragon back with him. So it'll be that dragon versus the black one, whatever it is.
Exactly. Drogon.
Yeah.
Which, let's be honest, Drogon is a really fucking stupid name for a dragon. Like, it's just lazy.
Yeah.
That is such a lazy fucking name for a dragon. Oh my god. But anyway, so like we'll see the death of one of her dragons, but I don't want her to live out the series. No. I have heard one interesting theory is that after they defeat the White Walkers, like midway through season 8, and then there's like the next 2 episodes act as like a 2-episode long montage of the years passing, as with Daenerys like fucking holding the Iron Throne and so on.
Oh, that's true. And we could have more jumps of time as the war goes on.
And she basically goes, all mad queen, because she's a Targaryen. Yeah. Targaryens have a history of going fucking insane. Yeah. So like the one theory is that I've heard is that after they just defeat the White Walkers, a few years pass and Daenerys becomes the actual villain of Game of Thrones, like the final fucking villain. And then she gets fucking killed off. Which, like the other fucking theory I've heard is that all the characters above the age of 15 die.
Yeah.
Like fucking. So basically, it's just the young characters.
Just the kids left.
Because Game of Thrones really likes setting that up, giving you lots of kids in charge, because like especially this new episode where the Umbers and the Karstarks are now both led by children. Yeah. Then obviously
and the Mormonts are led by
the young bear who. Okay, so the young bear is the greatest fucking character I've seen.
She's a feisty bear.
I don't know her real name. I just call her the young bear. I don't even know if that's the name the fandom has adopted for her.
I don't know either.
It's either that or Tiny Badass.
She's scary.
But she is fucking awesome. Like I would really like. No, she is very fucking cool. I basically want to see a world where she, Arya, and Brienne of Tarth just just run around going on adventures and being smart.
That is what has frustrated me more than anything with the opening of Season 7, that Arya is going south now for King's Landing to kill Cersei. I wanted her to meet up with the others. I want House Stark, whatever's left of them, to have a little family reunion.
Yeah, I really assumed Arya would be going north. But then again, Arya doesn't think she has any family left, because, like, aside from Jon, because she was really close with Jon in the books and in the show.
Yeah, you would think she'd at least check to see if he's still up there somewhere.
Yeah, like fucking, but apparently not. And okay, so I'm like one of the only people in the world who probably thinks this, but like I know everyone's like super excited because they're probably going to be bringing Gendry back. I really don't give a fuck about Gendry. Like he has not been present in the show for years since he fucking sailed away, and I really hope they don't bring him back, because like he was a dull character when he was on the show, and because we haven't spent any time with him in years, bringing him back would just be stupid.
Oh hell no! I mean, we're done with Baratheons. Actually, what I'm more interested, which is still a possibility, I think, is if they try to bring Stannis back, because we didn't see him die on screen. It was always so very apparent that they didn't show him die on screen that I'm still wondering, like, are they going to bring him back, even in just like a fuck you moment? I don't know.
I really hope they don't bring him back. Like, I don't understand why he would be dead. Why he wouldn't be dead? Because Brienne was like so fucking like she walked all the way all the way from King's Landing to fucking Winterfell to kill that motherfucker.
Yeah, no,
like,
I agree. It'd be very, very interesting. I mean, she would be bothered if she weren't sure he was dead. So maybe I just thought it was very odd that they never actually showed it. Like they're trying to screw around with it.
I think it was a dramatic, just a dramatic thing. We'll shy away from death just this once, or like maybe they just straight up ran out of budget.
Yeah, I don't know. So they show, the Red Witch, she's walking south now. I mean, if they did want to try to bring him back somehow, then maybe she stumbles on his body and pulls him back up. But I don't know. I think he would take the Jon approach and be like, I'd rather stay dead. Don't bring me back next time. I'm sick of this.
Well, they've. I don't know if you've watched the promo for the next episode.
I haven't.
In the promo for the next episode, the Red Lady arrives at Dragonstone.
Oh, okay. Well, that answers that question.
So she's with Daenerys, because I thought apparently the whole next episode is going to revolve around Westeros's reactions to Daenerys now arriving.
Yeah, she's at Dragonstone with literal dragons.
Yeah, which makes sense. Like, obviously, it's like Cersei is like just trying to rally everyone against her because she's a Targaryen.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, like, fucking Cersei has good PR on her side at this point, because like no one likes the Lannisters.
No.
But everyone hates the Targaryens.
Yeah, because that's how they conquered the continent the first time, is they set up base at Dragonstone and then fucking burned everything to the ground and then took it over.
It's like, it'd be like if fucking Hitler came back to life and he was like, okay, guys, I know I messed up in the past, okay? But if we don't deal with the Kardashians right the fuck now, kind of what the situation is. And then, of course, Jon Snow, who is such a single-minded fucking dude, is just like, ooh, she has dragons. Ooh, fire melts ice. I wonder if that could be useful. That seems to be like his sort of fucking train of thought with in this promo.
That's sort of the point of the story, is it's the Song of Fire and Ice. So you've got the fire of the dragons, and then you've got the ice of the White Walkers, And then, yeah, just Jon Snow literally caught in the middle. That's why he's got to survive for real this time. He's got to stay to the end. I want to see Jon Snow, and then I want to see him be happy, because he's very seldom been happy. I want to see him have a wife and everything. But this is Game of Thrones, so he's probably going to die. But anyway.
Oh yeah, fucking Game of Thrones. Everyone dies.
I want I'll be honest, I want some kind of prequel episode where they talk about the doom of Valyria and why the Targaryens left Valyria in the first place and all that. I want to see that put to screen, at the whole fucking island blow up.
Well, apparently it was fucking volcanoes, because Valyria was built, like, around 7 volcanoes.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Like, and I'm just thinking, like, okay, cool. So Valyria, I know you were like fucking, like just a land full of really smart, talented, artistic people who created all these majestic wonders and so on. Why the fuck did you build your city around 7 volcanoes? Like today, even today, we think that that building Pompeii next to a volcano was stupid.
Yeah.
That was one volcano, and Pompeii wasn't on an island, like, isolated, was it?
No,
like,
no, it's like a coast side.
Yeah, it was on the coast. Fucking, if you are on an island made up of 7 volcanoes...
Like Hawaii.
like, exactly, like fucking Hawaii. Like, I would not live on Hawaii. I would not live on Hawaii.
No.
I like life.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's not active. You know, fucking one day I'm getting, like, no. No, not a fucking chance.
I do occasionally think about when, because in the U.S. we have the Yellowstone caldera, which is literally a dormant supervolcano that, like that's what pops in the frickin' 2012 movie, too. How ridiculous that movie is, but there is the real potential threat of the Yellowstone super caldera ever going off, and I've seen, like, because this fascinates me, of course, I've read articles about, like, what the disaster zone would be, and I think about, like, how close am I to the edge, and where is this, and, yeah, it's it's interesting.
I hated 2012 so much. The thing is that the reason I hated 2012 was just because of the last few lines of the film.
Oh, the end of the movie's terrible, but I actually very much enjoy the movie up until that point.
like literally, like, it's the last few lines of the film, because they're like, because at first I was feeling really, really fucking smart, because the film ends and they're like, hey, we found there's habitable land already. Where? Oh, it's in the Drakensberg Mountains in South Africa. And at first I'm like,
hey!
Yeah, fuck you, rest of the world. South Africa survived. And then wondered, like, I guess that's why they call it the Cape of Good Hope. I'm sitting there like fucking, oh my fucking Christ. So this would be like if someone said, this would be like if someone said, the only habitable place is in Washington, D.C., and I said, well, no wonder they call the entrance the Golden Gate.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
The Drakensberg Mountains are in they're not in Gauteng, they're in the Natal. They're on the border between Natal and not Gauteng, one of the others. I can't remember off the top of my head, and I'm still kind of drunk. But either way, so they are in the more or less northeasterly central part of South Africa.
Okay.
Like a few hours, like 2-3 hours from where I live. The Cape of Good Hope
is like the tip
is
point.
on the very. It's in fucking Cape Town. Like fucking, they share a name. Like they are a country apart, and it is not hard to figure out where the Cape of Good Hope is. And like the Drakensberg Mountains, that's not exactly a name of a mountain range that's particularly well known.
Yeah.
So clearly they had to look. Clearly they looked that up, or someone told. So when they looked that up, how did they not see the fucking location of?
The thing is, too, it's like, even if those mountains were above water, there's no way the actual Cape of Good Hope is still above water at this point. Unless Africa's, like, literally tipping forward. where like the Sahara's on the seabed now. I don't know.
Because the Cape of Good Hope is not a particularly high location anyway.
Because it's
one
like
of the lowest.
ocean.
Exactly, it's on the very southern tip of Africa. It is a really fucking low point, in terms of the fucking sea level.
Yeah.
But apparently it's fucking. So that pissed me off. Like, honestly, the rest of the movie could have been Citizen Kane, and I would have walked out of that movie. It's like fucking. Like I say, it's like it would be like saying the Golden Gate Bridge is in Washington D.C.
Beautiful.
Or Waffleton DP. I think that was the best alternate I've heard for that. Is, what was it? No, I can't remember who said the joke, but so like a delegate from American Samoa went and spoke at your Congress, and like I could understand. And it's like. So one of the speakers was tasked with announcing the guy to come up, and yeah, he fucked up his name. So the delegate's name was Eli Faliamabega. Like, that's a hard name to read.
Yeah.
But he then said from the territory of American Somalia.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, obviously someone who shouldn't have been up there.
How do you? So I can't remember who was doing a comedy piece in this, but he then said, like, fucking, if I had been standing up there, I would have gone up and said, well, thank you for that, Mr. Speaker. It is an honor to be here in Waffleton DP and the great United Sporks of Amuga Boy, which I think is the best name for America ever. That was the United Sporks of Amuga Boy.
So, yeah, it's that's one of those historical leftovers. No, I think about end of the world scenarios a lot because of various reasons, and I feel like I'm at a good point right now, at least on our continent, because I am mostly out of the Yellowstone blast range, like very edge kind of, and then there's also, of course, the always patient San Andreas fault line, which ran right through the bay that I'm not in anymore, thank God. So it's like, if that actually did tear a good chunk of California off from the mainland, we'd become oceanside property, but I should mostly be okay. And then, of course, there's always the North Korean fun, which, So, yeah, it's one of those things to think about. You got to be prepared for any kind of end-of-the-world scenario.
Here's a question. Here's something I want to know. Skybolt.
Yo.
No. Did you know that a group of raccoons is called a business?
Is it really? That's fun.
Yeah. Right? It's like, you never really thought of that before, of what a group of raccoons would be called before, but it feels right.
Yeah, some of these animal group names are so weird, like the Murder of Crows and stuff like that. Like, who comes up with this stuff? I don't know.
I'd actually kind of like to be part of whatever fucking committee it is that comes up with collective nouns.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, is there some group in taxonomy that just, like, come up with this? Like, I don't know, the National Biological whatever's is like, who does this? It's like, this is just what they get their kicks. This is the end of the day, and they're like, okay, now let's think of the funny names for the animals.
I had something to say, and then I got... if I recall, you got a really big engineering boner for Dragonstone. So talk to us about Dragonstone.
Oh, yeah. I just mostly very much enjoyed the look of the architecture and those outer gates. And then, especially when you go through the main gates, then you've also got a bridge and water on both sides. It's sort of like an enclosed harbor. And I was just thinking about how tactically genius that is, too, because it's like, okay, let's say you're an invading navy. You're caught at the ridges of the island. You've got to go through the gate no matter what. There's no way to go over it, unless you have dragons, too. So you finally bust your way through the gate, and what do you see but a bridge, an internal moat behind the wall, and you've got to get over the bridge to the main island. and all you have in front of you is the big fucking castle looking down at you on that little tiny strip of land, and how tactically easy it is to completely murder you with arrows and everything else. It's like, so it's like, even though you get through the gate, you almost have a more unpassable impasse that you'd then have to go through to actually get to the castle. So I was just thinking, like, it is so, like, in Middle Ages kind of warfare, that is so hilarious about, like, you know, think about the first guy that broke through that door and be like, oh, fuck. So, yeah, I just, I was laughing about that when the episode was ending, and then they were doing all their, you know, their fun internal, like, they've got the Dragonstone throne and the big table map. I love map tables. It's such a neat, you know, neat looking thing to see, so.
I really, really like that map table. But it's funny, like, I didn't, like, maybe this tells how the shows how differently we watch shows. But fucking, I saw Dragonstone and I was like, oh, that's a cool design. That's a cool design for the castle. And then I proceeded not to notice anything else about the castle's aesthetic. Like, literally, else just described to me, it's like I'm hearing it for the first time.
Yeah, I think about that, because especially with castles, that's castles are very important for things like that. So
it's also fairly, I'm assuming it's fairly rare where you'll watch a show and you'll look at it and think, wow, that actually would work in real life. What you just did there, that would.
Yeah.
Like, I'm assuming that, like when sci-fi shows try to make up science, and scientists probably get really fucking pissed off. I'm sure castles must piss you off, because I'm sure a lot of them don't make sense.
Yeah, a lot of them are kind of poorly organized. It's it all depends on the surrounding geography. Well, I mean, it isn't even like medieval times. Just in frickin' World War II, one of the many reasons Switzerland couldn't be conquered by the Nazis is just because of the natural environment of the Alps and everything. And they had all these strongholds carved through the Alps, and they called it the Swiss Redoubt. And just like, you know, if they try to get through a bridge, they blew up the bridge. They, like, all their bridges are mined. And they've got these, like, these, like, battleship guns hidden in the mountainside that look like rocks. And then you pop them up and spin them around, and it's a freaking 16-inch gun, or 14, or whatever. And, yeah, it's just, like, it's so crazy how much of a stronghold Switzerland really is. And, 2 world wars, it just sits on the sidelines. EU, it just sits on the sidelines. Like, I really wonder what it's like inside Switzerland. Like, to have a family that have lived there for, like, you know, 800 years since the time of the Swiss Guard and everything. Like, that's got to be an interesting culture.
Well, I mean, like, they're trying to stay, supposedly, they're trying to stay completely neutral. So I suppose, like, you know, how far will you go to maintain
neutrality?
That neutrality, like that case of, because I mean, I suppose it would be very much okay. So like, if you said, if you had 2 friends and they were getting into a bitch fight with each other, and you were like, I don't want anything to do with this. Those friends do their fucking best to get you involved in it anyway.
Yeah, I know.
So like, if in that case I could fucking, so that's like that's the equivalent of setting fire to your fucking cell phone. Like, I can't respond to your text messages if my cell phone's on fire. That's fucking Switzerland's. That's how Switzerland sees it with by their bridges.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. I like the idea of Switzerland, and So no, Dragonstone will be interesting because it's got the deep harbors, and so of course then we should hopefully have a solid naval battle between the frickin', you know, the Theon and, or what's her name, or their navy, and then their uncle's navy, and so we should get some good water battles there. Well, that is essentially several seasons ago what happened with the Battle of Blackwater Bay, is that frickin' Stannis sailed his navy into the bay to try to take King's Landing, and then, Tyrion freaking, damn it, what's it called? Wildfired all of them.
Wildfire.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's kind of funny because that's still definitely one of my favorite Game of Thrones episodes. Mostly just because of that really fantastic speech that Tyrion gives. When like all the soldiers start running away and Tyrion's like he's sort of got to take control of the army now. Despite the fact that he is, a fucking dwarf with no military skills whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, he's well read, but I mean, he's never actually been in a battle before. So it's like...
Yeah. And I thought the speech was very good because he points out a lot of things that more soldiers should point out. Like, fucking, don't do it for the glory. Do it because when the people come in here, they're going to steal your homes. They're going to steal your gold. They're going to eat your food. They're going to rape your wives.
Yeah.
And he sort of gets to the end, and the last two lines are fucking beautiful, where he's like, "Those are good men knocking at our door, so let's go kill them." That is what I love about Tyrion the most, is the fact that he is like, you know what he is? He's like one of the Fallout characters that's in on the joke.
Yeah.
Like, he knows that all of this is just a big fucking joke and it doesn't really matter. So he's just sort of along for the ride. Or at least he was at that point. Like, now he's a lot more serious, but at the time he was just along for the ride. Like, he liked playing the Game of Thrones because he just because he was wiping the floor with everyone. And it just really was a simple case of he liked fucking with people, which I really think we need more characters like that who don't have... That's like, Season 2 is still my favorite season of Game of Thrones because of that. Because of the fact that Tyrion didn't have a goal beyond fucking with people.
Oh, yeah. No, seasons 1 and 2 were very solid. Absolutely.
Essentially, once the Stark Rebellion began in earnest was when the series was when suddenly we were like, we all started looking towards the end goal.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of the things that happen are like based on real things that happened over the years in the medieval Europe, and like frickin' Rob, it's like, really was the pussy that good that you had to sleep with this one chick instead of making a house alliance to be able to, to be able to survive and not get taken over by the Lannisters? Like, yeah, the Walders are freaking shit and everyone knows it, but maybe you wouldn't have actually died had you not screwed that up. But no, he did.
Fucking exactly. It's weird. Game of Thrones is definitely one of these shows where, like, the journey has been fine, but it's always been so much more about the destination.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if it weren't for the impending, the ice, the White Walkers and everything else coming, it's like the journey would have felt very drawn. You know what that is? That's The Walking Dead, is you have the trotting and the plotting, but no end game, no ultimate, like they had with The Cure. Like, if they had that from the beginning, like, what if season 1 ended? They were in the CDC lab, and the guy is like, we had word from the New York offices that they had a breakthrough, and then we lost communication. Go up there and look. And then what if the next 3 seasons were them traveling up to New York on foot? How cool would that have been? They had to go through all these cities full of zombies, DC and Boston, or whatever.
Exactly. Like, fucking, that's like the best zombie story on TV is fucking iZombie, which I don't know if you've seen it yet.
I haven't, but I've heard the stories. Yeah.
No, so I mean, iZombie is fucking spectacular. It's from the same dude who created Veronica Mars. So it doesn't take itself seriously at all. It is written fabulously. Yeah. But it's very much got this case of every season is bigger than the next. Like, the story moves itself forward in a very, very big way. So, like, fucking, at the end of the last episode of season 3, the world found out that zombies exist.
Oh, wow. Great.
Like, it was a huge fucking deal because what the bad fucking, there was this, throughout season 3, there was this military contractor in Seattle who was entirely run and staffed by zombies.
Oh, cool.
So their big plan at the end of season 3 was so it's like in the middle of season 3, this virus, not a virus but a flu, this very old flu gets leaked into Seattle, and so I think it's the illusion flu, and so the CDC starts they start planning to vaccinate people, and all the way throughout the last episode, the vaccinations are happening in the background of the episode. And then you find out that what actually happened is that the military contractor of zombies have taken their blood and they've spiked the vaccines. So you now have like 70% of Seattle's population are now zombies.
Oh, cool.
So that because their plan was that on announcing that zombies were real, the zombies would now be in control of America's 4th largest city.
Oh, interesting.
Which meant that it would be that it would be impossible for the American government to disavow them or to take military action against them because they now represent a sizable population of the fucking of America.
Well, not to mention Seattle is one of our biggest naval bases. So if they've also got all the sailors there, that's like 2 carriers and a whole bunch of submarines.
Exactly. It's like there is a lot of concern with critics because, I mean, iZombie is a fairly small show in terms of its budget.
Yeah.
It was pitched as a crime drama originally. It follows like a crime of the week.
Yeah. She eats the brain and then solves the crime.
Yeah, but it's now a crime serial that's dealing with like really hardcore American politics in a completely new way. Like, it's which I think is really, really interesting, because like at the end, but that's not even the only thing that happens at the end of the season. Because at the end of the season, one of the characters creates a fucking vaccine for zombies, like not a cure but a vaccine.
So it kills them instantly if you're a zombie?
No, it doesn't kill them, but it means that you can get scratched by a zombie and not get infected.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Like, they did come up with a cure, like, in an earlier season, but then they ran out of... They ran out of cure, and they ran out of the exact, virus-creating condition that to replicate the cure from. So now all they can do is a vaccine, but it's done the zombies so much better than any
I was
going to
say, it sounds like they're actually treading in very, hardcore zombie lore and in the confines of a show that really wasn't built for it, necessarily.
Exactly. Like, they keep taking new steps forward, which is what a TV show should fucking do.
Yes, exactly. Especially with the budget of The Walking Dead, it's like they could be so much better.
Like, that's one of the things that depresses me the most, is that if I look at shows, at small budget shows that so competently handle the development of the series, and I just think to myself, imagine what they could do if they had the budget of The Walking Dead.
I know.
So it's like one of the things that we've been learning in fucking class, one of the things that our lecturer keeps drilling into our heads, non-stop, is that if there is no change at the end of a story, the story is pointless. Which was like the whole fucking point of Waiting for Godot, was that there's no change, it's all pointless, life is pointless. Fucking, we just sort of go on.
Yeah.
And that's like with most big budget TV shows don't understand this anymore, is that they don't create change in the show. It's what's fucking fantastic about Archer, is that Archer has now created change in every single fucking season. Because they've now announced their new season, which is they're doing another fucking time jump, another total reset.
Where are they going this time?
Oh fuck! I'm so excited. They're doing 1939 Pirates.
What?
So like fucking modern pirates, like
Like right on the edge of World War II.
Yeah, right on the edge of World War II. Fucking Archer is like a plane like a pilot of a plane, and they crash on an island or something. And yes, the island is called Danger Island. That's the name of the new season.
Oh my gosh, that's interesting.
Has an eye patch and everything, and one of the fucking Krieger is not going to be a character anymore in this season because he's the voice of Archer's parrot.
Oh.
Like, fucking...
I'm kind of going to miss that. It would have been cool to see, like, a 30s era Krieger, like, you know.
Like, already got to see 40s era Krieger, which was fucking beautiful.
Oh, okay. I'm sure that was similar enough.
With Dreamland, where he was a Nazi, where he was a post-World War II Nazi scientist.
Nice. He was one of the Project Paperclip.
Exactly. But the fucking but like his greatest achievement was that he created a cat with robotic limbs who kept licking it. All it did was it licked its own balls, like that, which is so fucking that is so typical Archer. But I'm so excited for this new season. Like fucking, that's an example of a show which it's a different way of creating change because it just does a total reset of its location and time zone now. But I think it's also Adam Reed has kind of proved to the point that he has created such fantastic and interesting characters that he could put them in any situation and they will be they will tell an interesting story.
It really is that simple. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it was a little bit unique, but the Archer PI or whatever they called it in Hollywood, that was still a fun season.
It was a fun season. It wasn't great, but it was a cool idea.
I'm waiting for Dreamland to come to Hulu or whatever, and I can shotgun the whole thing. It should be fun.
Yeah, Dreamland is Dreamland is one of the best Archer seasons. It's not as good as Vice.
I don't think they can ever top Vice again, to be honest. It was such a strike in the fire.
Yeah. I think the Vice helped. One of the things that was so good about Vice was the fact that it was the first reset they did.
Yeah.
So you didn't expect it,
exactly.
And it was also the first time. It was also the first time that they had a seasonal arc.
Yes, I mean it was just, especially with that end episode, the way they like flash forward everything, and I wasn't expecting it at all. This is me in like 2014. I'd never watched Archer before, and I'm just like, I'm at my new apartment and I'm just like killing time, like unpacking slowly. And yeah, I hit that season 5 first episode and it just blew my mind. And I was like, what the heck is this? And I watched the whole season like that, running off of that fresh like energy. And I just like, you can't top that. It was so good.
Yeah. Well, what originally hooked me on Archer, because I watched it right from the beginning, but when I had started watching Archer, I wasn't I wasn't a writer at that point. I was an editor. So when I originally started watching Archer, that's what I watched it for. Was not the video, was the audio editing, because the pacing of the line delivery is the best in TV.
Oh yeah, no, that's part of why its comedy works so well, is that editing and pacing. Yeah,
like the comedic timing of Archer is that no one does comedic timing better than that show, and it's fucking incredible. Especially, it's not as prevalent in the new seasons. Like they have sort of dropped that a little bit, but like those first 2 seasons of how they fucking push those jokes with the comedic timing just breaks me. It is too fucking... Or like even season 6 had some really good ones. Like they had, I think, there was this fantastic episode, I don't know if you remember, that opens on Pam bursting into tears, and Archer, like, and she's in the kitchen, and Archer's trying to make a cup of coffee.
Oh yeah.
And it's a 2-minute sequence of Archer pushing, like maneuvering Pam out of his way while she's trying to make his coffee. He makes his coffee, finishes his coffee, slaps her, and then asks what's wrong after like 2.5 minutes. and I'm just watching, and it's just like, how long are they willing to keep this show going? Like,
It's Pam.
like
She can take a beating.
About Archer is that even like several years into its runtime, it was doing comedy that was different to every other animated show out there.
Oh yeah.
Like, even like, I think that's one of the reasons everyone that the internet is really liking Rick and Morty so much, is that it's like if internet humor was given a production value, was given a production budget.
I was about to bring them up. If, like, in modern day television, those are the only two, like, really solid comedies I can think of. And, I mean, to be honest, I'm not following a lot of TV shows because I don't have cable, thank goodness. Well, it's like I technically do have cable, but I never turn it on, so hopefully they aren't pulling any Nielsen data from that box. Bullshit. Yeah, and, like, Rick and Morty Season 2 was a good natural progression from what Season 1 had. They're like, okay, Summer has really come into her own. Let's make her a full character. And then they played out every single one of those dynamics in a really smart way. And so now I'm hoping they do the same with Season 3, now that they've got all the post breakout everything. And it's gonna be the darkest season yet, Morty. It's gonna get so fucking dark.
Well, like we had a long discussion about it in my animation class. Because one of the most interesting things about Rick and Morty is that whilst, I mean, the character animation and designs are really, really bad and really lazy, because all the effort and budget of the show goes into its background.
Exactly.
And the background, like, there was this one shot from the trailer for Rick and Morty, which honestly blew my fucking mind, was them on the roller coaster, where the camera is tracking on them while they're sitting in the front seat of the roller coaster, and it's going back, and you see the roller coaster going around with them, and the background changing at the speed and at the angles of a proper roller coaster. And I'm just sitting there looking at this and wondering how the fuck they pulled this shot off. Because they would have had to do that background frame by frame, like redraw that background frame by frame to pull that shot off. And like, that's a lot of fucking time and effort to go into a show that is basically just one long extended meme.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I... That's my interpretation of Rick and Morty, is that it's a meme in animated form.
Yeah.
But
it is really like internet level nihilism given personification.
Oh yeah, it's like, I think one of the best descriptions of internet internet related content creation is specifically like on YouTube, which I think it came from Philip DeFranco. I don't remember. I don't really watch a lot of his things, but a friend brought it up to me, was that professional production is very well polished. It's clean and it's polished and so on. The internet has no polish, but it is 100% texture.
Yes.
We are all texture with no polish, which I agree with. I completely agree with, and I am so happy to be that. I will gladly be all texture and no polish.
Oh, yeah.
And what I think the reason that the internet loves Rick and Morty so much is that it's the exact same thing. Rick and Morty is all texture, no polish. And it kind of knows it.
Yeah. Well, even the idea of him hopping to different realities within the the closed finite curve, it's like a limitation. Like, there is an end point ultimately. We've only got a few dozen of these left, Morty. We can't keep switching realities. But at the same time, it's like, it does have that sort of fleetingness. Think about like when you decide you're completely done with MySpace, so you just you turn and burn it all, and it's like that whole like that world that you were used to is now gone, and so now you're in the Facebook, or now you're in the Twitter. It's a fascinating like look and of that like sort of mentality, and Rick, you know, just sort of wandering back and forth to these different places.
I think the other thing that maybe the internet really likes about Rick and Morty is the fact that Rick and Morty really doesn't give a shit about how complicated it gets.
No.
Like, I think honestly, it's going to. Like, I think it actually kind of takes a bit of delight in maybe confusing its audience if it can.
Yeah.
Which I think is really, really cool, because a lot of shows, and I've had this before, I've had this very, very often when I try and write. When I'm writing a story, is I stop and I think, I've got to stop and think, is the audience going to understand what's happening? Have they followed all the little points that I've dropped explaining the world and explaining the situation? Or do I need to re-explain these points here and there so that I know the audience understands?
Oh, yeah.
And Rick and Morty, I mean, the writers on Rick and Morty must feel so free about the fact that they don't have to do that. Because Rick and Morty doesn't give a shit. If you don't understand, you know, then too bad for you. You know, the show's going to... But the nice thing is that even if you don't understand it, not understanding it is almost part of the fun.
Yeah, it's
because that's what you know. Morty doesn't understand a fucking thing that's going on, so you could just put yourself in Morty's shoes.
Yeah, no, he's definitely the self-insert in that situation, and well, especially like when you had that season 1 with all the Mortys and the evil Morty and everything, and it's like that, you know, everyone has the theories about what that's building up to, but it's like, it is like, then you learn more about, you know, the Galactic Federation and, you know, how much of the government they are and how much of the universe they control and stuff. It's very fascinating, yeah, of a show. Like, really mixing the comedy with, like, sort of, like, deeper and deeper sci-fi lore with every episode.
Exactly. The fucking, sorry, my head is...
Like, I mean, Futurama sort of did this too, and, you know, everyone talks about it being, like, a spiritual successor to Futurama, but really, in a lot of ways, it does it quite a bit better, in my mind. Like, it feels like Futurama, but without any of the, like, fluff in the middle. Like, I think of all the Fry and Leela stuff, which was just, you know, speckled throughout the series, and it's like, it was too speckled. Like, maybe, you know, they didn't want to take too many risks for their kind of show, but it's like, it really did feel almost like two shows combined. Like, half of Futurama was Futurama, and then the other half was sort of, you know, 2000s The Simpsons, which was very, like, depressing after the you know, one whole decade of really good Simpsons.
Like, I still kind of reckon, like, Futurama could be boiled down into just The Simpsons, but a lot better.
Yeah, it's like all the Simpsons talent went to Futurama after 2000.
But I really enjoyed Futurama, and of course Futurama will always be remembered for the fact that, despite being a comedy series, it had the power to make us cry a bunch of times.
It was very good at that, yeah, about keeping those heart moments in there, which I think is part of comedy anyway. Again, comedy is all about contrast. So if you don't have those really solid moments in there, you really can't have comedy either. Otherwise, it becomes like one of the, I don't know, like one of the epic movies, you know, the scary movies as they are now, not like the early ones. It's just hollow, you know? I don't know.
All right. I have basically finished this bottle now, so I should probably go to bed.
That's a good idea. We're about 3 hours anyway, and I'm gonna get lunch, which sounds really good to me right now.
Great. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm almost certain I should probably do this. I should maybe I'll live stream my hangover.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, whatever you want to do. I know we gotta. Yeah, I'm actually excited to be doing the Patreon like monocasts again, and I'll probably because I had a lot of fun with those four that hopefully our patrons have enjoyed. They must have enjoyed them to some extent because we asked them, what do you guys want, and that was one of their suggestions, was more executive level stuff. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was one of the things the patrons really wanted. So if of the 9 people currently watching at this exact second, y'all should take a look, because the vlogs are fantastic, because it's like the Breakroom podcast, but because we don't live stream it, we do end up sort of editing. We edit bits and pieces. So I haven't watched the entirety of Skies yet, but what's also kind of nice is that from the looks of things, the way he and I are doing our vlogs are very, very different.
Exactly. So it's good variety.
Yeah. Like my vlogs, I'm doing mine. I'm going to be doing mine once every week and a half-ish.
Oh my god.
But I'm shooting the footage every single day over a week and a half, and then editing it together.
Nice.
So it's a week and a half of small clips all stuck together to make the vlog, as opposed to like an hour of Sky ranting. Which is what you do best. You do Sky ranting best.
Yeah.
All right, I am going to go past that.
No,
now.
so hopefully, you guys enjoy everything we have coming. And Terminal Secrets 4 and Confession 6 are right around the corner, so stay tuned. We're weeks away from both.
Oh my god, right?
Which is really funny how that worked out, that they're sort of like on a similar back-to-back time frame now. We probably should have made them stagger more, but this is just how it's ending up.
It's just how it's ending up, and we are so far into both of these series that we may as well just keep it the way it is.
I guess so. It probably will. Once we cast the character, I'm going to try to make it so Confession 7 comes out around December, but we'll see what happens. Basically, we're at a 6-month turnover for the series.
Terminal Secrets is going to probably extend into 2018, despite the fact that I really wanted it to be done by December.
Yeah.
I mean, not September, but like that is a month and a half away from now.
Same
and
with me.
Scrambling to get 4 finished.
I intend to finish the series now by the end of 2018. I think every 6 months we have an episode, and so we'll have 7 in like January and 8 this time next year, and then finish at the end of 2018. That's sort of the way I see things going now.
We've also kind of Terminal Secrets has so far managed to do 2 episodes a year. Because we did one in March of 2016, one in July, and then we did one in January. So we'll have of 2017. So now we're going to have one in August or September of 2017. So keeping to that pattern, we should have one. We should have episode 5 in March-ish of 2018, and then by the end of 2018 we'll have episode 6, and then it'll be done.
And depending on how things go, I kind of foresee us finishing the Wasteland Survival Guide by the end of 2018 too, just in the fact that I think we're going to cover every possible relevant topic for a Wasteland Survival Guide. Like, I know we're going to be finishing my gun block soon, and then my next block is all about like some stuff we won't spoil for you guys, but I mean, we're moving our way down, and I think honestly by December we can start seeing where the structure of everything's going to fall anyway.
Yeah, but also because I know Sky, you don't plan too much for Beyond Confessions,
not yet,
but
no.
I think I personally don't see myself writing pony content out after 2018.
I don't either. It's probably our end game is all of that coming to a crescendo. And since I have a whole lot of like normal novel ideas that I'd like to get to working on that I can actually tell more people in my life about. Because I essentially live like 4 different lives, just at different points. So
I want to put more focus onto, you know, my original projects like Untypical and shit like that. But I like outside of the terminal sequence, I still have 2 more pony projects in mind. And yes, one of them is a Red Eye origin story.
Yeah, no, we might still do odd stuff because, you know, I don't want to like cut contact necessarily with anyone. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
At the very least, the next 18 months are going to be a ride. That's for sure.
Yeah, like you will still have you'll still have the Wastelands 5 guys. You'll still have Terminal Secrets and Confessions, because and even after that, we're still not going anywhere. We still have a I will continue to produce audio dramas for as long as I possibly can, you know, have the time to do it. I really fucking like
Oh, me
doing
too.
this.
I'll be doing my whole life doing fun, creative stuff like this. I love this stuff.
Exactly. I love writing. I love being able to put my piece into this channel. So for as long as I can maintain my position here, I will maintain my position here. All right, cool. I am going to hang up now.
All right.
Oh, God.
Yes, we will talk to you guys later.